Chapter 1080. Yen LV came back at night. He walked in through the front door with the key to the dormitory in his hand. Shishang sat on the sofa and stared at him. Yen LV put down the key and smiled. "Teacher, you don't have to look at me so eagerly." Shishang was speechless. Eagerness my ass. She would beat him up even if he was Feng Ci. He's so annoying. Shishang didn't say anything, but Yen LV didn't mind. He walked over with something in his hand and placed it in front of her. "This is a gift for our first meeting. I hope you don't mind." Shishang took a look inside. It was a small cake with a cute bear piled on top of it with some fruits on the side. When he retracted his hand, Shishang suddenly grabbed his hand. At that moment, Shishang felt that he wasn't grabbing a hand but a block of ice. But he didn't feel anything familiar. There was only coldness. Shishang instinctively wanted to use his spiritual force, but he suddenly remembered that there wasn't any spiritual force in this world. F***ck. This world is poisonous. Yen LV's voice sounded beside his ear. "Teacher, are you done?" Shishang let go of his hand and stood up. He warned him, "Don't come near my room." Yen LV put his hand back in his pocket and smiled. "I should be the one saying that to you." Shishang gritted his teeth. If this person was really Feng Ci, he was too annoying. Yen LV watched as Shishang went upstairs. He only retracted his gaze when she disappeared and slowly reached out for the cake on the table. When his fingers touched the cake, his gaze paused on the back of his hand. He seemed to have thought of something and his smile deepened. At that moment, everything in the room paled in comparison to his smile. Shishang went back to his room and rubbed his head in frustration. Yen LV, who was this person? There was no such person in the plot. Shishang took out his phone and called Lin Qianlong. He found out about Yen LV from Lin Qianlong. This person was the tyrant of Yinglong. In the university, there was a saying that there were 2 kings and 1 tyrant. The 2 kings were Ling Yu and O Yuchen. One was the male lead and the other was the supporting male lead. This tyrant was Yen Lu. His background was unknown, and he only knew that he had returned from overseas. From the first day he entered the school, he had beaten up the person who had claimed to be the tyrant of Cherry Orchid Academy. In the following week, he had defeated all the hooligans in the various schools, quickly establishing his status as the tyrant. After that, he stood shoulder to shoulder with the 2 princes and became an existence that Sakura Orchid and all other schools didn't dare to provoke. He was a very good-looking boy, but he was a violent maniac. Anyone who saw him would be afraid. "Sir, why did he move into your dorm?" Lin Qianlong asked softly. She was afraid that Yen LV would hear her if she spoke too loudly. Shishang scratched his head. He must be retarded. Who knew what a retard's brain was thinking? Lin Qianlong held her breath. "Miss, you should be careful with your words. Senior Yen doesn't care if you're a boy or a girl. He treats everyone equally. If he dares to beat I will beat him to death." Of course, Shishang didn't say anything. He chatted with Lin Qianlong for a while longer before hanging up. Lin Qianlong grabbed her bag and left the room. She saw the cake by the door. Shishang poked his head in to take a look. The room beside it was closed. Lin Qianlong threw the cake at his door and quickly left the dorm. Before she could confirm whether this guy was a girl or not, it was better for her to keep her distance from him. Perhaps it was because Shishang could still come to class after he dealt with Jin Yu and the others, but the students in Class 2, Class 7 settled down. They were small fries now. It was a battle between big shots. They should just back off. Shishang spent most of his time making them study by themselves. It wasn't easy for them to go to class, but they were either punished to stand or copy homework. Moreover, it was a group punishment. In Shishang's words, they were a group. If there was something good, it should be shared. The students in Class 2, Class 7 were speechless. "You're just taking revenge. Will this work? Are you guys going to do it or not?" Jin Yu looked at the others. "You." Bai Qian was a little scared. "This isn't a joke." "That's enough. You don't have to participate. Go back. Jin Yu was impatient. You only know how to cry. Do you know that she won't let us off? Bai Qian's face turned even paler. But I'll listen to you. Another girl immediately expressed her opinion. Bai Qian glared at the girl. She squeezed to Jin Yu's side and hugged his arm. Although she didn't say anything, she made her stance clear. In the end, the others all agreed. Jin Yu nodded in satisfaction. Okay. The two of you will find a way to lure her to the back door of the school. Us. Bai Qian pointed at herself. She was obviously unwilling. You're girls. She won't be so wary. Jin Yu analyzed for them. As Jin Yu's girlfriend, Bai Qian knew that if she didn't listen to Jin Yu, he might have to change his girlfriend. Jin Yu and the others finished their discussion. Just then, the bell rang. Shi Shang entered the classroom right on time with a set of papers. She threw the papers to the students in the first row. There's a quiz today. Hand it out. The students were stunned. What was a quiz? How many classes had she attended recently? She hadn't learned anything at all, okay? After handing out the papers, Shi Shang pulled out a chair and sat down. She knocked on the podium and said with a half smile, "The students who failed will be given a big surprise." A big surprise? It was more like a shock. The group buried their heads and chewed on their pens. She seemed to have taught this question before. How did she solve it? They seemed to have seen this question before. What was the formula again? This question. They seemed to have seen all the questions before, but they couldn't remember how to solve them. When they finally handed in their papers, the group felt hopeless. They could already imagine what would happen to them after the results were out. Tomorrow is the weekend. The class representative will hand out the homework later. Shi Shang took the papers and left. Her gaze swept across the corner. She paused. Why isn't Mu Rong Xiao in class? Everyone. You just realized that we're missing someone. The class representative stood up and replied, Miss Mu Rong didn't come this morning. I heard that she took leave. Took leave? She wasn't the homeroom teacher. If someone took leave, it would be from the homeroom teacher. TSK, she probably had an affair with the male lead. Shi Shang had just walked out of the classroom when Bai Qian and a girl chased after her. Bai Qian quickly said, Miss Mu, we have something to talk to you about. Shi Shang didn't even pause. She kept walking forward. What do you want to talk about? It's not convenient here. Miss Mu, can you come with us to the north back door of the school? Jin Yu also wants to talk to you. I'm not free. A group of brats still wanted to cause trouble. She should learn how to control her emotions first. Bai Qian. Miss Mu, are you afraid? Another girl tried to goad her. Yeah, I'm afraid that you guys will harm me, so I won't go. Is there a problem? The girl. She couldn't catch on. The two girls watched as Shi Shang entered the office. #hashtag today's lotus-flavored ticket #hashtag come on, create hashtag. Chapter 1081. Shi Shang finished marking the papers in his office. When he went out for a stroll, he saw Ling Su bringing Mu Rong Xiao back. Mu Rong Xiao was limping as if she had sprained her ankle. Ling Su helped her up impatiently. The two of them seemed to have parted on bad terms. Ling Su left her at the foot of the school building and left. Shi Shang stood upstairs, rubbing his chin as he pondered. How should she break up the couple? Host, your mission this time has nothing to do with them. No, it has nothing to do with them. Please don't create unnecessary trouble, okay? Do you think the male lead will let me off? Ling Su definitely wouldn't let the incident in the cafeteria go. He had probably contacted the school already. The school hadn't given him a reply, which was why he hadn't done anything yet. Otherwise, she would have been kicked out of school long ago. Host, I'm curious. How did you find a backer? It had been struggling with this question for a long time. Shi Shang pursed his lips. Where would I find a backer? I'm just cannon fodder. Who would have a backer for me? If you don't have a backer, why didn't the school punish you for your misdeeds? That group of parents actually allowed you to torment their children? Are they crazy? Then tell me, how did you do that in school? Why should I tell you? If I wanted to do that, wouldn't it be easy? Hee, master. I'm not going to serve this lunatic anymore. After school, Shishang saw Mu Rong Xiao being pushed again and almost rolling down the ladder. Shishang really couldn't understand. The female lead had a good background. Why did she have to hide her identity and come here to torture herself? He didn't really understand the female lead's thoughts. Buzz. Shishang looked at the caller ID. After a while he answered, "What's up?" "I have something to tell you." "I'll wait for you at the north back gate," the other party said simply and hung up the phone, not caring if Shishang agreed or not. Shishang was speechless. Bai Qian seemed to have mentioned the north back gate. It was definitely the plot's doing. She had to force me into a dead end. Shishang changed direction and walked towards the back door. Bai Qian, who was following her from a distance, hurriedly called Jin Yu to report when she saw her going to the back door. Jin Yu, who had originally wanted to change the plan, received the call and immediately ordered people to prepare. Yinglan had 2 back doors, one in the south and the other in the north. The one in the south was closer to the main road, so more people used it. Behind the north side was an alley that was going to be demolished. It deviated from the main road and required a large detour around the school to get to the main road. Therefore, very few people walked this way. Usually, if there were any grudges, most of them would meet at the north back door. Unfortunately, when the Shishang arrived at the north back gate, there was a fight in the alley. A group of people had already been beaten to the ground, wailing in pain. On the other side, a boy stood with one hand in his pocket. The cold wind blew through his hair, revealing his beautiful eyes. Even in such a situation, he still maintained his elegance. He looked up at Shishang. "Teacher, what a coincidence." "Haha, what a coincidence." Shishang ignored him and walked towards a car parked in the distance. She didn't want to talk to this idiot right now. Yen LV narrowed his eyes and caught up with her in a few steps. "Teacher, why are you avoiding me? I'm afraid I can't help but beat you up." Shishang went to class every day and rarely saw Yen LV. Ever since he moved in, she had only seen him 3 times. However, every time they met, Shishang wanted to beat him up more and more. "Don't follow me." Shishang paused and warned Yen LV. Yen LV smiled and stopped in his tracks. "Teacher, be careful." Shishang glanced into the distance. "I don't need you to remind me." The smile on Yen LV's face became even more dazzling and devilish. "Teacher, you're so smart." Shishang felt a chill. If this was really Feng Ci, it would be even more difficult to deal with. The path of teaching was long and arduous. Haha. Why are you laughing again? This stupid system is getting more and more annoying. You always want to change him into what you want. Pervert. I like it. Why do you care? Haha. The system was now in despair. It had nothing to lose. Shishang rushed to the car in a few steps, opened the door and got in. Yen LV watched the car leave. He tapped the ground with the tip of his foot and turned to look at a MPV further away. After a while, he walked towards it. He walked very slowly. It was as if every step was slowed down by the camera. The distance between him and the MPV was getting closer and closer. He stopped at the driver's seat of the MPV and tilted his head slightly to look at the window. His handsome face was reflected in the black glass. After a long while, he continued to walk forward and disappeared from the rearview mirror. In the MPV, Jin Yu loosened his clenched fists. However, the cold sweat on his forehead proved how nervous he was just now. They had wanted to wait for Shishang to come out. Who knew that Yen LV would suddenly appear with a group of people and fight not far from them? After seeing Yen LV fight with their own eyes, they finally knew how powerful this man, who was rumored to be untouchable, was. You. Yen LV seems to know Jian. They had seen the two of them talking just now. However, They were too far away to hear what they were saying. It's just a few words. Don't be nervous. Jean didn't know if he was comforting the others or himself. But when has Yen LV ever taken the initiative to talk to anyone? They clearly saw that Yen LV was the one who spoke first. There was an eerie silence in the car. Why don't we go and apologize to her? She's fine anyway. Someone started to retreat. Do you think it's over with just an apology? Jinyu snorted coldly. That woman's words on the field would wake him up every night. She wouldn't let them off. Jinyu had a very strong intuition. Jinyu changed the topic. Do you remember that car just now? No. That car didn't look special. It was a relatively common model. Many people in the school had such cars. Who would pay attention to such a common car? Go and find out who that car belongs to. He wanted to know who was supporting this woman. Then what about Yen LV? Didn't he not do anything? Maybe they just met by coincidence. Why are you so nervous? Jinyu glared at them. There's another woman who can scare you like this? Everyone. Was that a woman? She was a freak. Now that they thought about the scene on the rooftop, they couldn't help but shiver. Asterisk, this is a fake group. Shishang, where did my adorable Feng Ci go? Little fairy, I don't know. Shishang, drawing sword, how can you not know? Little fairy, strong face, I just don't know. Shishang, very good. Waving sword, little fairy. Boss, I was wrong. He ran away from home. Woo, it has nothing to do with me. Feng Ci, you were the one who locked me up. Shishang, huh? Little fairy. What did I say just now? My account was hacked. What I said has nothing to do with me. Fleeing, Shishang, oh? You said you wanted votes. Since it's not you, I won't let them vote. If you want to know what will happen, please fill in the blanks yourself. Chapter 1082. Shishang didn't come back until midnight. The lights in the corridor were probably broken. She stomped a few times, but they didn't come back on. When she reached the door, she saw the boy leaning against the door. His white shirt was very eye-catching. Shishang wanted to say, "Aren't you cold?" Wearing such a shirt in the middle of winter, he must be very healthy. Why are you standing here? It was so scary in the middle of the night. The figure on the other side moved. He unlocked his phone and looked at the time. His voice was slightly hoarse. I didn't bring my keys. Didn't you climb over the wall to get in? Don't think I don't know. Since when did you need to use the door? Yen LV continued. Teacher, I thought you weren't coming back. Shishang frowned slightly. You have a cold. Are you worried about me? No. Shishang walked into the room. Move aside. Yen LV froze for a few seconds, then slowly moved aside. Shishang opened the door. Yen LV didn't stand on ceremony and went in first. He took off his shoes. Shishang realized that he was almost completely wet. It wasn't raining outside. Yen LV didn't say anything. He went upstairs alone and didn't move after entering the room. Shishang paced around the living room, thinking about something. Teacher. Yen LV changed into a clean set of clothes and stood at the stairs. Shishang stopped pacing and looked up at him. What? Yen LV smiled. I'm a little hungry. Teacher, can you help me buy something to eat? His voice was even hoarser than before. No. How dare you ask me to buy something in the middle of the night? Yen LV seemed a little disappointed. Okay then. He held onto the handrail and walked to the entrance to change his shoes. Shishang. Annoying. So annoying. I want to chop someone up. Shishang walked over with a sullen face and pulled him back. What do you want to eat? Dessert. Yen LV answered softly. Teacher, buy me some cold medicine. I feel a little uncomfortable. Haha. If I knew that you weren't Feng Ci, you would be cut into pieces by I. Shi Sheng felt very irritated. Just what did system do to completely cut off my connection with Feng Ci? It was late at night and early in the morning. The Shi Sheng had to go around half of the city to buy desserts. It was not easy to find a pharmacy. It took them a long time to find a 24-hour pharmacy. Shi Sheng had just walked out of the pharmacy when he saw Mu Rong Xiao shouting at a car, "Ling Su, you jerk. How can you leave me here alone?" The car disappeared in the blink of an eye. The standard of cannon fodder was that wherever they went, they would meet the main character and be slapped in the face. Shi Sheng. She dared to bet an iron sword that the male lead Darren would come back in a while. Shi Sheng looked at the time. He was afraid that the girl in the dormitory would starve to death, so he didn't want to watch the show. He hailed a taxi and prepared to go home. Somehow, Mu Rong Xiao saw her. When she hailed a taxi, Mu Rong Xiao suddenly ran over. "Miss Jen, it's really you. That's great. Can you lend me $100? I don't have any money on me, so I can't go back to school." Mu Rong Xiao clasped her hands together with a pleading expression. "I don't have any money." She had only brought $100 with her. After buying the cake and medicine, she only had the taxi fare left. She didn't have a single cent left. Also, why should I lend it to you? Mu Rong Xiao's eyes widened in disbelief. Her eyes darted around quickly. "Are you going back to school too? Can you give me a ride? I'll return the money to you when I get back." "Miss, look at me. It's so dangerous for a girl like me to stay here in the middle of the night." "Miss, who told you to come out with the male lead Darren in the middle of the night? You knew that it was dangerous for a girl like you, yet you dared to argue with the male lead Darren. Who can you blame for being left here?" Mu Rong Xiao looked at Shi Sheng pitifully. "Miss, I'm begging you. Please give me a ride when you go back to school. Wait a little longer and your male lead Darren will come back to pick you up. Trust me. Why do you have to take a taxi with me? I'm just out to buy a cake. Who did I offend?" Shi Sheng rejected Mu Rong Xiao. "I'm not going back to school." "Huh? But aren't you staying at school? Was it that difficult to give her a ride? Can't I not stay at school today?" Shi Sheng rolled her eyes. She got into the car and instructed the driver, who was getting impatient from waiting, "Drive." Mu Rong Xiao was shocked by Shi Sheng's cold-bloodedness. It was not until the taxi disappeared around the corner that Mu Rong Xiao's face fell. As a teacher, how could she be so indifferent to a student who was in trouble? She had thought that Shi Sheng was just bad-mouthed, but she was actually a kind person. Mu Rong Xiao stood by the roadside, her ankle throbbing in pain. She was so angry that she blamed it on Ling Su again. It was all that bastard's fault. Shi Sheng carried the things back. Yan LV was still sitting in the living room, leaning against the sofa and watching the television. Hearing the sound, he slowly turned his head and smiled. Shi Sheng threw the things on the table, poured some water, and placed it in front of him. Yan LV leaned over and pulled the bag to his side. He took out the medicine from the bag and ate it according to the instructions. He held the dessert and ate it spoonful by spoonful. The sound of the television echoed in the living room. "Teacher, are you always so nice to boys?" Shi Sheng was playing a game beside him. Hearing the voice, she snorted coldly. "You're lucky. You're the first. If you're Feng Ci, no, then you'll have to sacrifice yourself to the sword." Even though she did not sense a familiar aura, Shi Sheng believed in her intuition. This guy was most likely Feng Ci. However, no matter how accurate her intuition was, there were some things that she needed to confirm before she could feel at ease. "Then I'm really lucky." Yan LV chuckled. "Teacher, do you want some?" "No." "Eating dessert at night? You're an idiot." Yan LV finished all the desserts that Shi Sheng had bought. After finishing her game, Shi Sheng looked up and saw the table full of empty boxes. Her mouth twitched. Looking at the boy on the sofa, she asked, "Are you a pig?" The boy had fallen asleep. His eyes were closed, and his long eyelashes cast a small shadow on his face. He hugged the pillow in his arms. His body was slightly bent, like an insecure child. She Shang's face darkened. Sleeping after eating? What a pig. She cleaned up the things on the table and went upstairs to get a blanket. She threw it on top of him, turned off the lights, and went upstairs to sleep. The living room darkened and was dead silent. After a long time, Yen LV poked his head out from under the blanket. He reached out and touched his forehead. It was burning hot. What a heartless woman. She threw him on the sofa just like that. Yen LV kicked the blanket away and lay there. He stared at the ceiling, deep in thought. He became more and more sleepy. In the end, he could not take it anymore and fell into a deep sleep. I just want to quietly beg for votes. Monthly tickets and whatever. Shamelessly throw them at me. If I'm wrong, throw them at me for free. Chapter 1083. When She Shang woke up the next day, Yen LV was nowhere to be seen. There was a cake on the table. Yen LV had finished the cake she bought yesterday, so this cake was obviously new. There was also a note under the cake. Thank you. She Shang looked at the cake that was the same as the one before and was silent for a while. She Shang didn't see Yen LV during the weekend, but on Monday morning, She Shang saw him put the cake back on the table. She Shang's mouth twitched. How much did he love this thing? She Shang shook his head and went to work. He bumped into the Lin sisters, who were on their way to class. They looked at She Shang strangely. Teacher, are you okay? Lin Qianlong asked carefully. She was worried that her teacher would be sent to the hospital if she stayed with a demon. My limbs are fine. She Shang spread his hands. Lin Qianlong looked She Shang up and down and whispered like a thief. When Ishuan and I came back 2 nights ago, Senior was still standing outside. Boo-hoo, I was scared to death. What's there to be scared of? Do you think he'll eat you up? Yen LV was so handsome. Shouldn't these girls be throwing themselves at him? In the face of beauty, humans were also very brave. She Shang only found out later that Yen LV had just arrived at school. Girls confessed to him, but after confessing, they didn't dare to say that they liked Yen LV again the next day. Some girls said that Yen LV would make crazy requests. Of course, they didn't mean in that way, but in completing his requests in a certain amount of time. In short, his requests were very strange and tricky. They couldn't even be considered a challenge to the girls. Teacher, take care. Lin Qianlong looked at She Shang sympathetically. She made a gesture to cheer him on and ran away with Lin Ishuan. She Shang scratched his head. How scared were these people of that retard? They weren't even that scared of I yet. The first class of the day was She Shang. Mu Xiaoxiao wasn't there. According to the homeroom teacher, she seemed to have applied for sick leave. And the person who applied for sick leave for her was the male lead. He knew it. It was a trap. It was all a trap. Let's take a look at your scores. She Shang threw the papers to the class representative. Distribute them. The class representative lowered his head and hurriedly handed out the papers. As soon as they received the papers, there were many faces in the class that looked as if they had nothing left to live for. In summary, it could be summed up in a few words. Who was the one who invented mathematics? Year 2 Class 7 was originally the group with the worst grades in the second year of high school. How many people could pass? It was probably just a blind cat running into a dead mouse. After looking at their hopeless faces, She Shang said faintly, "Those who didn't pass, copy your papers 100 times and study by yourself." 100 times. Too little. I don't mind doubling it. All the students. We mind. Teacher, you didn't even attend the class. If we didn't pass, it's also your responsibility. What right do you have to make us copy? A student stood up and questioned. She Shang glanced at him and said, "Other than the general knowledge questions, I've covered all the other questions. You should ask your parents about your IQ." The student. Why did he feel like he was being attacked? She Shang smiled and said, "If you don't have any questions, then copy. If you get the questions wrong, you'll have to copy more than 100 times. All the students. How would they know what to do if you didn't even teach them? A group of students scratched their heads and discussed the wrong questions in the classroom while Shang played games in the classroom. About half an hour later, Shang suddenly received a call from Father Jian. He said that Mother Jian had been in a car accident and that she was fine. She was just a little frightened and asked Shang to go back quickly. Shang looked towards the corner of the classroom and saw Jinyu looking up at her with a smug and provocative look on her face. Shang curved the corners of her mouth coldly. She lowered her head and swiped the phone book. She dialed an unsaved number and walked out of the classroom. The plan begins. I gave you guys more time to jump around, but you guys thought it was too long. Shang rushed to the hospital that Father Jian had mentioned and saw Yen LV leaning against the wall outside the ward. The corners of her mouth twitched. Why are you here? Yen LV chuckled softly. The young nurses around him squealed softly. I learned from Lei Feng and did good deeds. Shouldn't you praise me? Shang opened the door and glanced at him. You should explain to me how you knew that they were my parents. Yen LV smiled as he watched her enter the ward. Through the transparent glass, he could see the girl greeting and comforting Mother Jian. It was as if the sharp person he had seen before was just an illusion. How interesting. Yen LV's phone vibrated for a while. He looked away and picked up the call. An exasperated voice immediately sounded from the other end. Yen LV, where the hell are you? Could it be that he was too scared to come? If you admit defeat now, I can spare your life. F***CK, Yen LV, are you mute? Speak. Yen LV's lips curved. Another day. F***CK, you. Yen LV cut off the voice on the other end. In the ward, Mother Jian held onto Shang's hand. Her eyes were slightly red. Xiaoyin, I almost thought that I would never see you again. Shang smiled. How can that be? I will live a long life. Yes, yes. I haven't even seen Xiaoyin get married yet. I haven't even had a grandchild yet. Don't say such ominous things. Forget about having a grandchild. Mom, did you have the amulet I gave you last time? Yes, I did. Mother Jian quickly nodded. This car accident was so dangerous. It was Xiaoyin's amulet that protected me. Shang asked Mother Jian to take out the amulet. She checked it carefully and returned it to Mother Jian after confirming that there was nothing wrong with it. After chatting with Mother Jian for a while, Shang pulled Father Jian aside. Dad, Mom suffered quite a shock this time. When she is discharged, you can go abroad and relax. How can we do that? We still have work to do. Father Jian shook his head. Dad. Shang glanced at Mother Jian. You don't want anything to happen to Mom, do you? If a person is too shocked and doesn't relax, they can easily suffer from paranoia, depression, blah blah blah. Shang described the severity of the situation in the worst way possible. Father Jian was stunned. It's not that serious, right? Of course it is. Shang said with a straight face. There are a lot of reports like this. Dad, it wasn't easy for you to raise me. Don't work anymore. Take this card. The password is your and Mom's birthdays. If it's not enough, let me know. I will transfer it to you. Father Jian's expression changed. Son, where did you get so much money? How much would it cost to travel abroad? Don't worry about that. I promise that I didn't do anything illegal and I'm not being kept by anyone. The money came from a legitimate source. Although, there were some flaws. Chapter 1084. Father Jian was not eloquent, so he could not win against Shang. However, it was not easy to fool him either. Shang talked nonsense for a long time before Father Jian finally believed him. Alright, Xiaoyin, you should thank Mr. Yen outside properly. Thank him for sending us to the hospital. Shang was speechless. Yen LV was definitely plotting something against her. Why isn't Xiaoyin saying anything? Shi Shang nodded obediently. Okay, I'll go now. Stay with Mom. I'll be back in a while. Yen LV was still standing outside, attracting the attention of many beautiful nurses in the corridor. Shi Shang closed the door and looked at Yen LV. Have you thought of an explanation? Whatever you think is right. I have nothing to explain. Yen LV looked at Shi Shang as if he was happy. Shi Shang was speechless. This idiot was awesome. Aren't you going to thank me? Yen LV winked at Shi Shang. How do you want me to thank you? Yen LV seemed to be thinking. His hair hung down and covered his beautiful eyes. After a long time, Yen LV finally thought of an answer. You can treat me to a meal. Shi Shang looked him up and down and smiled. Okay, let's go eat prawns. Yen LV's expression changed. He slowly put his hands back into his trouser pockets. In the blink of an eye, he returned to normal. Okay. Shi Shang went to change Mother Jian's room. He comforted her for a while before leaving with Yen LV. Shi Shang took Yen LV to a seafood restaurant. Other than prawns, they did not order anything else. Yen LV sat there calmly and waited for the various kinds of prawns to be served. Then, his expression slowly changed. Shi Shang peeled a prawn and put it on Yen LV's plate. Eat. Yen LV looked at Shi Shang. After a few seconds, he reached for his chopsticks and put the prawn into his mouth. The prawn was very fresh. He chewed it carefully and swallowed it slowly. It tastes good. Really? Then eat more. Thank you for sending my mother to the hospital. Shi Shang peeled a few more prawns for Yen LV. Yen LV took a deep breath and quickly finished the prawns. Shi Shang gave him a meaningful look. Feng Ci didn't like to eat prawns. It wasn't that he couldn't eat them, but he just didn't like to eat them. Teacher, excuse me for a moment. Yen LV stood up and walked out. After leaving the private room, Yen LV unbuttoned the top 2 buttons on his shirt and heaved a sigh of relief. He walked towards the bathroom and washed his face. His mouth was filled with the smell of prawns. He didn't like it at all. After staying in the bathroom for a while, Yen LV returned to the private room. The prawns on the table had been removed and replaced with something else. Yen LV was stunned. Then, he walked over and sat down naturally. Teacher. Okay. Shi Shang placed a small plate in front of him. Eat. The plate was filled with fish bones. Yen LV glanced at the woman beside him. She was eating quietly. Her side profile was gentle and almost perfect. Yen Lu lowered his head to hide the emotions in his eyes. After that, the two of them ate in silence. The atmosphere wasn't awkward at all. Instead, it was somewhat harmonious. When it was time for the bill, Shi Shang was informed that the bill had been paid. He looked at Yen LV. The latter chuckled. Although it's your treat, as a man, how can you let a woman pay? Shi Shang kept his wallet. I have something to do. You can go back by yourself. Teacher, aren't you coming with me? Yen LV tilted his head and looked at Shi Shang. Why should I go with you? Shi Shang asked him back. Because I'm living with you. Yen LV purposely emphasized the word, living together. Living under the same roof was considered living together, right? Haha. Shi Shang gave Yen LV 2 words. Hurry up and get lost. Yen LV shrugged. If you need me, I'll be on standby for you. Damn, this idiot learned how to flirt again. The first to get into trouble was the Jean family. A vice president of the head office ran away with the money. That sum of money was almost all of the Jean family's liquid assets. With the Jean family's means, they could still borrow money from the bank. However, the banks that they were on good terms with either refused to lend them money or needed time to check. Once the chain of liquid assets was broken, all kinds of problems followed. Bribery by the higher-ups was exposed. Indecent videos were spread on the internet. All kinds of negative news was spread as if it was free. The outsiders were a little confused. How long would it take to collect so much negative news? The Jin family's incident was not over. Following that, a few other families got into trouble one after another. The speed of their downfall was like a rocket. It was such a good opportunity. Anyone who didn't want to make a fortune was an idiot. However, these people who wanted to take advantage of the situation realized that someone had already set up a trap and was waiting to collect the net. The other party was someone they could not afford to offend. Everyone could only look on helplessly. Shi Shang went to class as usual. Jin Yu and the rest did not come to class. Even if they came, they would probably face the strange looks of everyone. One day, Shi Shang went out to buy something. As soon as he stepped out, he was stopped by Jin Yu. The handsome and dashing young man from before was nowhere to be seen at this moment. "Is that Jin Yu?" A passing student pointed at Jin Yu. "God, how did he become like this? I heard from my daddy that the Jin family might be finished. It can't be. The Jin family's business is so big. How can it be finished just like that?" "I don't know. Daddy never tells me this. I even overheard it. Jin Yu blah blah." Jin Yu heard the discussions around him. He clenched his fists and rushed towards Shi Shang. "Jian Yin, it's you, isn't it?" Shi Shang stopped and admitted without hesitation. "It's me. So what?" Jin Yu choked. "Yes, so what?" "She destroyed the Jin family." The Jin family that provided him with all his resources was gone. Without the Jin family, the people who used to call him brothers and kneel behind him were all gone. Without the Jin family, he was nothing. It was this woman who destroyed everything he had. It was all because of her. Jin Yu suddenly looked up. His eyes were full of hatred. He took a knife out of nowhere and rushed towards Shi Shang. "I'm going to kill you." If he didn't have a good time, she wouldn't either. "Ah!" The students around them screamed when they saw Jin Yu take out a knife. Shi Shang. This brat must have been driven crazy. Shi Shang easily avoided Jin Yu's knife. He grabbed Jin Yu's arm and threw him to the ground. He stepped on Jin Yu's hand that was holding the knife and bent down slightly. He looked straight into Jin Yu's eyes and smiled. "Do you think what you're going through now is painful? This is just the beginning of your pain. Why are you doing this? Why?" Jin Yu lost control. "Why? Have you forgotten how you treated me in the past?" Shi Shang took out his phone and called Jin Yu. "Jin Yu, enjoy this." Some images suddenly appeared in Jin Yu's mind. He flipped through them quickly and finally stopped at the rooftop. A woman dragging a sword and leaving under the gloomy sky. That image was like a curse that couldn't be erased. Chapter 1085. Jin Yu was taken to the police station. The Jin family was busy with their own affairs and had no time to pick him up. Jin Yu was locked up in the police station for a few days before he was released. When he left the police station, he was in a daze. He was hit by a car and was sent to the hospital. His life was saved, but he would probably spend the rest of his life in bed. Bai Qian's family didn't have it easy either. When she needed support, Bai Qian was sent to bed with an old man. In these families, it wasn't a big deal to give their daughter to someone else to save their empire. The others didn't end up any better. Sometimes, living was scarier than death. If killing was against the law, then live and enjoy it. Winter vacation was coming, and this winter vacation, no one had a good time. Except for Shi Shang. She definitely wouldn't leave any future troubles for herself. Today at 8:15, the Shihuan Group announced that the next CEO will be Li Cheng. As everyone knows, the CEO of the Shihuan Group represents the next successor. Now it seems that this young master, who has never been favored, has unexpectedly taken the lead and succeeded. The man turned off the entertainment broadcast and looked at the girl standing by the floor-to-ceiling window. "Miss Jian, are you really not going to consider it?" The man held a glass of red wine, his eyes full of smiles. "You shouldn't waste your time here. You have a better future ahead of you." President Li. Shi Shang turned around. "I've already completed our deal. I just hope that you will abide by the rules. If I can bring you up, I can naturally bring you down. Don't think about things you shouldn't think about. The man laughed. Ha ha, of course. You have the final say in the future, Inglon. Shi Shang's lips twitched. I'll leave first. Miss Jen. The man called out to Shi Shang. Shi Shang turned around. Li Cheng put down his wine glass and reminisced. When I took over Inglon, I knew that I had been abandoned and couldn't go back. But, thank you for letting me return to the Li family and giving me a chance to avenge myself. Inglon was just a school. Although he had the Li family as his backing and was the king of Inglon, he was nothing outside of Inglon. He was just kicked out of the Li family and sent to the border. Shi Shang opened the door and said calmly, "You have to fight for opportunities yourself." If he hadn't agreed to his deal back then, he would still be a pitiful wretch who had been abandoned. Ha 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 ha. Li Cheng laughed maniacally. He had nothing, so there was nothing he couldn't afford to gamble. Shi Shang went downstairs and was about to take a taxi back to school when a car suddenly stopped in front of her. The window rolled down, revealing a slightly old face, which was somewhat similar to Li Cheng. Shi Shang looked at the old man with a straight face. "Chairman Li, what's the matter?" The old man's face darkened. His sharp eyes sized her up from head to toe, as if he was evaluating an item. "You're the person behind Li Cheng?" To be able to remain so calm in front of him, he was indeed quite capable at such a young age. "Not really. It's just a transaction." The old man's bright eyes narrowed as he praised, "Little girl, you're very capable. Thank you for the compliment. You've chosen the wrong person." He had many children and out of all of them, the one he didn't think highly of the most was his youngest son. Shi Shang's eyes curved. "Then let's see how far your youngest son, whom you don't think highly of, can go." "Humph." The old man snorted coldly and rolled up the window. The car immediately started and merged into the traffic. Shi Shang scratched his head. Li Cheng had provided her with funds and connections in Inglon. In return, she had given him 7 companies and some information about the Li family. Li Cheng was the one who had profited from this. Moreover, he had made good use of her so that his father could make a decision so quickly. Li Cheng might not be a hero, but he was definitely a traitor. It was not impossible to give him a stepping stone and let him soar to the top. Honk honk. The silver car stopped beside her and the horn sounded. Yen Lv's attractive face appeared in front of Shi Shang. "Teacher." Shi Shang bent down to look inside. "Why are you here?" Yen Lv tapped his fingers on the steering wheel and said casually, "Teacher, is there a rule that says I can't come here?" Shi Shang. "Not cute at all. Bad review." "Teacher, it's not easy to get a taxi here. If you don't mind, I'll send you back." "I don't mind. I'll fly back." Shi Shang turned around and walked towards the sidewalk. Yen Lv narrowed his eyes and parked the car. He opened the door and chased after Shi Shang. "Teacher, do you hate me?" "Guess." "I can't guess." Yen Lv was telling the truth. He didn't understand her. "Then don't ask." "But I want to know." "What does that have to do with me? I wasn't responsible for answering your questions." Yen Lv suddenly grabbed Shi Shang's hand and pulled her back into his embrace. He rested his chin on Shi Shang's shoulder and whispered in Shi Shang's ear, "But I like teacher." "Shi Shang, I might be hearing things. When did that idiot Feng Ci take the initiative to confess?" "What did you say? Say it louder. Say it again." "I like teacher." "I might have met a fake Feng Ci. No, I'm not sure if this guy is real or not. What if the idiot system tricked me?" Shi Shang pushed Yen Lv away. "I'm older than you." Although Yen Lv was in his 3rd year of university, he was only 21 years old. He was younger than the original owner by a year. "I don't mind." Yen Lv looked at Shi Shang. "If you mind, I can change the size of my ID card." "Haha. You think you're older than I just because you changed the size of your ID card? King idiot." "Teacher, you like me too, right?" Yen Lv's voice was bewitching. Otherwise, you wouldn't buy medicine for me at night. You wouldn't take away the food I don't like to eat. You wouldn't. Teacher, you like me, right? You're thinking too much. Shi Shang pushed Yen Lv's hand away and continued walking. Yen Lv's expression darkened. He looked at Shi Shang's back and suddenly went forward. He grabbed her shoulders and turned her around forcefully. Then, he lowered his head and kissed her. F***ck. Shi Shang quickly turned his head and avoided Yen Lv. Yen Lv increased his strength and quickly pressed down. Shi Shang instinctively wanted to beat him up. Just as he was about to hit him, he suddenly felt a sense of familiarity. F***ck. He wouldn't use this method to identify her in the future, right? Was he going to ask, "Hey, young man, come and kiss me"? Thinking about this scene, she could already see herself being chopped up. Hiss. Shi Shang pushed Yen Lv away and glared at him. What's wrong with you? Why did you bite me when it was just a kiss? She used the tip of her tongue to sweep the bite. Luckily, it wasn't broken. Yen Lv rubbed his lower lip with his finger. Teacher, look. You like me. Shi Shang took a deep breath. No, I can't take it anymore. I have to beat him up. Shi Shang pulled him back to the car. Open the door. Let's go back to the dormitory. Yen Lv was a little confused. Teacher, we can take it slow. Haha. I will beat you to death when we get back. I'm going to be beaten up. Ha 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 ha. 2017. 02. 23rd Cherub, Falling Purple. Hashtag vote for Rosemary Fragrance today. Hashtag vote 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 hashtag. Chapter 1086. Yen Lv realized how wrong he was when he returned to the dorm. Shi Shang was in a good mood after beating him up. She kicked Yen Lv on the floor. Get up. Yen Lv looked like he was in pain. Sir, I can't get up. Don't talk nonsense. If you don't get up, I'll throw you out. She knew exactly where she had hit him. She couldn't have really hurt him. Yen Lv was silent for a while before he got up and sat on the sofa. Buzz. Yen Lv glanced at Shi Shang and picked up his phone. The person on the other end of the line said something and Yen Lv's face looked worse and worse. The temperature in the living room seemed to be dropping. He got up from the sofa and strode out. When he passed by Shi Shang, he turned and kissed her on the cheek. Wait for me to come back. Shi Shang frowned and watched him leave the dorm. There were 2 classes in the afternoon and a self-study session in the evening. When Shi Shang returned to the dorm, Yen Lv hadn't come back yet. Sometimes he wouldn't come back for a few days and Shi Shang was used to it. She wasn't too worried before because she wasn't sure if he was. But now that she was sure, she should at least show some concern. Shi Shang took out her phone and realized that she hadn't even called him. Sir, are you there? Lin Qianlong knocked on the door as if something big had happened. Shi Shang opened the door and realized that she didn't have her keys. She needed to go to the bathroom. As the saying goes, people have 3 needs. Lin Qianlong came out of the bathroom after she finished her business. Sir, thank goodness you're here. Otherwise, I would have suffocated to death. Where are your conjoined twins? Shi Shang poured her a glass of water. Lin Qianlong gulped down the water and sighed. Don't mention it. Yixuan fell in love and I'm the only one left. Lin Yixuan's boyfriend was from another school. According to Lin Qianlong, he was handsome and had good grades. The 2 of them were a perfect match. Sir, you don't have a girlfriend yet, right? Lin Qianlong sought comfort from Shi Shang. I don't want to be single. Shi Shang thought for a while and said, not yet. He reckoned that there would be one soon. That's great. Let's go out for supper. I've been in class all day and I still have to cover for Yixuan. I'm starving. Shi Shang was speechless. Why did she jump from the topic of her partner to the topic of supper? Lin Qianlong grabbed her Shi Shang and headed out. Perhaps because she was really hungry, she didn't pick anything. Instead, she found a restaurant outside the school that was still open. You don't know how annoying our professor is. You're not allowed to play with your phone, you're not allowed to sleep, you're not allowed to. In short, you're not allowed to do anything other than listen to the lecture. He even takes attendance, starts class, ends class, remembers him in the middle, and asks for blah blah blah. Shishang poured her a drink and pushed it toward her. Lin Qianlong hurriedly hugged her and drank a mouthful. It felt warm and not cold at all. She narrowed her eyes at Shishang. Teacher, why aren't you a guy? Woo, if you were a guy, I'd definitely chase you. It would be a pity if he didn't become her boyfriend. Lin Qianlong inched closer to Shishang and asked, Teacher, do you mind if I'm a lesbian? Shishang's mouth twitched. Yes, I do. Lin Qianlong had only mentioned it casually. After all, she liked boys. She quickly changed the topic and started chatting with Shishang about random things. After supper, Lin Qianlong and Shishang returned to the dormitory. She hadn't stopped talking since. Hey! Lin Qianlong seemed to have been triggered by Lin Yixuan. Why can't I meet a boy who is completely devoted to me? Teacher, what kind of boys do you like? Shishang thought for a moment and said, Cute and obedient. Teacher. Lin Qianlong suddenly trembled and pointed in the direction of the dormitory door. Is that Senior Yan? Shishang looked in the direction of the door and saw a figure sitting by the door. His head was lowered and there were bloodstains on his body. It was late at night and he looked a little scary. Shishang frowned. Where did he go to get himself into this state? Shishang walked closer and smelled a strong scent of alcohol. Yan LV. Shishang squatted down and reached out to touch his face. Yan LV's face was burning and his eyes were tightly shut. Shishang tried to touch him but he didn't seem to be waking up at all. Yan LV? Teacher. Senior. Is he drunk? Lin Qianlong whispered as she stood a distance away. How dare he touch Yan LV's face like this? She was afraid that Yan LV would suddenly jump up and hit him. Shishang passed the key to Lin Qianlong and she moved Yan LV away from the door. Lin Qianlong curled up and opened the door. Teacher, I'll leave first. How scary. Where are you going in the middle of the night? Lin Qianlong hesitated. I'm going to squeeze in with my friends. Shishang helped Yan LV to the sofa. Wait at the door. I'll open the door for you. Lin Qianlong nodded her head and quickly left the room, closing the door behind her. It was amazing that her teacher could live with Yan LV. The door next door opened quickly. Lin Qianlong closed the door and Shishang had no choice but to climb back in. Yan LV was lying on the sofa and his blood was all over it. Shishang looked down at his clothes and saw that they were also covered in blood. Shishang changed out of his clothes before going to help Yan LV. He didn't have any wounds and the blood on him probably belonged to someone else. Shishang went upstairs to get some clothes. Yan LV's room was very clean and tidy as if no one had lived there before. Shishang helped Yan LV put on his clothes and reached out to touch his forehead. It was abnormally hot. Did he catch a cold again? Shishang was about to go look for some medicine when someone grabbed her wrist and pressed down on her. A hoarse voice said, Teacher, I'll be obedient from now on. Can you like me? Shishang was speechless. Weren't you unconscious at that time? How could you still hear I's words? Yan LV wrapped his arms around her neck and tightened his grip. Shishang felt that he couldn't breathe. Let go. Teacher. Yan LV didn't let go. Instead, he hugged her even tighter and pressed against her like a furnace. F***CK. Was this guy trying to strangle her? Let go. Shishang squeezed the words out from between her teeth. Teacher. Shishang took a deep breath. Didn't you say you'd be obedient? Yan LV's body stiffened. After a while, he slowly let go. Will you like me then? Shishang pressed him back onto the sofa and found the cold medicine he had bought last time. He handed it to him according to the instructions. Take your medicine. Yen LV looked down. Teacher, I'm fine. He was already cooked and he was fine? Fine my ass. Shi Shang pinched his chin and forced the medicine down his throat. Cough, cough. Yen LV choked on the water and coughed uncomfortably. Teacher, cough, cough, cough. Shi Shang patted him on the back. Be good next time. Asterisk he was begging for votes every day. It was the end of the month and he was about to get votes. Chapter 1087. Yen LV was forced to take the medicine, and he fell asleep after a while. Shi Shang stared at him for a while before carrying him upstairs. He put him on the bed. When he lifted the blanket, something fell to the ground. Shi Shang picked it up. It was a teddy bear. It looked simple and honest. Shi Shang looked at it for a while before putting it on the bed. There was a picture frame at the head of the bed. Shi Shang picked it up and looked at it. The person in the picture was a little blurry, but it was obviously her. When she first arrived, she was on the rooftop with an iron sword. From the angle, it should have been taken from the opposite school building. Where was he at that time? Shi Shang was silent for a while. He put the picture frame back and left the room. The next day, Yen LV was still nowhere to be seen. The only difference was that there was no cake on the table. There was a normal breakfast, and the living room was cleaned. There was a note on the table. Teacher, I will be good. You can't go back on your words. Shi Shang was speechless. This child was seriously ill. Could Yao Ling still be saved? Please call Yao Erling. The system was not afraid of death. Haha, are you itching for a beating? Host, I don't have a beating. The system also wants a beating. Host, you are so awesome. Can you give it to me? Shi Shang was speechless. The system was quite awesome when it was shameless. Host, I am shameless. You are not only shameless. You will lose your freedom soon. The system decided not to say anything. I will try to live for a few more days. Mu Rong Xiao Xiao, you still say that you have nothing to do with Prince Su? I saw you get out of his car with my own eyes. Shi Shang heard Fan Ro's voice before he entered the classroom. While Shi Shang was stirring up trouble, the school had let the winter break go. It had been almost 3 weeks since school started. Mu Rong Xiao Xiao and Ling Su must have been doing well during this time. I didn't, Mu Rong Xiao Xiao defended herself. He forced me to get in the car. Wow, Mu Rong Xiao Xiao, you are so proud. Prince Su let you get in the car? Do you think you're a peerless beauty? Fan Ro's tone was sarcastic. It must be you who shamelessly pestered Prince Yu. I said I didn't. Mu Rong Xiao Xiao was very angry. She would not pester that bastard. Pa! The sound of a slap came from inside. Shi Shang shuddered and hurried to the door to take a look inside. The boys stood in the corner while the girls, led by Fan Ro, surrounded Mu Xiao Xiao in the middle. Shi Shang looked around the group of girls but couldn't find Wei Jingjing. Ever since Jin Yu's accident, this girl had been very depressed. When she saw her, she didn't look for trouble and just avoided her. Judging from the current situation, the one being slapped was obviously the female lead Darren. Fan Ro, are you done yet? Mu Rong Xiao Xiao was annoyed, and her temper flared up. If you like him, go after him. What's the point of holding on to me? Mu Rong Xiao Xiao, why don't you look at yourself in the mirror? How dare you covet Prince Su? I'll teach you a lesson today and show you what you're made of. Fan Ro rolled up her sleeves. Sisters, let's attack together. Prince Su belongs to everyone. No one can lay a finger on him. Is your Prince Su a public toilet? Why are you all crowding around? Let's start class. Shi Shang walked up to the podium. As soon as he went up, the group of people immediately cowered and returned to their seats dejectedly. Just as these people sat down, Ling Su appeared at the classroom door. Shi Shang silently praised himself. He knew that the male lead would come to save the damsel in distress. Mu Rong Xiao Xiao, come out. Ling Su's gaze fell on Mu Rong Xiaoxiao as if everyone else was air. Mu Rong Xiaoxiao was full of anger. How could she go out now? Ling Su's face darkened. He went straight into the classroom and prepared to catch her. This student. She Shang blocked her way. It's class time now. What are you trying to do? Jianyin, get out of my way. He hadn't gone to find trouble with her yet, and she still dared to come in front of him. Do I have to give way just because you asked me to? Do you think your face can make pancakes? All the students were confused. What did this mean? Ling Su was also dumbfounded. He did not understand what She Shang meant by that. Pfft. Soft laughter came from outside. A slender figure appeared at the door. He had one hand in his pocket and the other hand was holding a box. He smiled. Teacher. Pancakes on his face. His face was big. She Shang was speechless. What was this idiot doing here? Ling Su was a little surprised to see Yan LV, but he didn't have any other emotions. He didn't have much interaction with Yan LV. Yan LV walked slowly into the classroom under the horrified gazes of the students. He placed the box on the podium and gently pushed it towards She Shang. The students' thoughts were running wild. Of course, most of them thought that She Shang had offended Yan LV. Did the teacher offend Yan LV? They were really looking forward to it. Was Yan LV going to teach the teacher a lesson? Did that mean they wouldn't have to be bullied by her anymore? Why didn't Yan LV just beat the teacher up? Yan LV pushed the box in front of She Shang and tapped on it with his finger. Teacher, this is for you. What is it? Teacher, open it. She Shang pushed the box back. Go back and wait for me. Yan LV moved his lips and said disappointedly, Can I wait for you outside? Up to you. Yan LV seemed satisfied and took the box back. All the students were speechless. Wait a minute. They might have met a fake Yan LV. How could Yan LV speak to someone in such a tone and be so obedient? It must be fake, 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 it's all fake. Yan LV walked out with the box. When he passed by Ling Su, he paused. Ling Su, are you going to disturb the teacher? It's none of your business. Ling Su frowned. What was Yan LV doing? Yan LV's smile disappeared. Of course it's my business. You're disturbing the teacher. Ling Su's expression was terrible. His gaze moved back and forth between She Shang and Yan LV. He didn't seem to want to be enemies with Yan LV. He glanced at Mu Xiaoxiao and left with a cold face. Yan LV looked up and smiled at She Shang before leaving the classroom with Ling Su. Ling Su stood outside the door. Yan LV, what's the meaning of this? Ling Su. Yan LV said the name softly. He took a few steps forward. She's my girl. Didn't I give you enough of a warning for what happened last time? Ling Su's eyes narrowed. It's you. She Shang had offended him for so long. It was impossible that he didn't do anything. However, his plans had been foiled a few times. Last time, it was even more direct. Yan LV's lips curved beautifully. I thought you already knew. It seems like you've raised a bunch of useless people. Ling Su suddenly didn't know what to say. He stared at Yan LV for a while before turning to leave. Chapter 1088. When She Shang came out of class, Yan LV was still waiting outside. Teacher, he greeted her with a smile. She Shang turned around and glanced at the classroom. The students were peeking in from behind, but they immediately shrank back when she turned around. You don't have classes? She Shang walked up to Yan LV. I miss you. She Shang was speechless. So, he was saying that he missed her so he didn't have classes? Yan LV passed the box back to She Shang. This is for teacher. The box wasn't big, but it was exquisitely packaged. She Shang passed him a book, and Yan LV immediately took it. She Shang opened the box. There were a few heart-shaped desserts inside. The moment she opened the box, she could smell the aroma. Teacher, try it. I made it myself. Yen LV looked at her expectantly. Shi Shang was speechless. What was wrong with him? He liked desserts. Shi Shang took out a small piece and could finish it in one bite. The dessert melted in his mouth. It had a fruity and milky aroma. It was delicious. Teacher, you don't like it? Shi Shang didn't say anything, so Yen LV thought she didn't like it. Shi Shang closed the box. It's delicious. Then why aren't you eating it? Why are you eating it in public? Go back. Shi Shang glared at him. Yen LV couldn't wait for others to know that they had a special relationship. But since Shi Shang said so, he couldn't refute. Because teacher said she liked obedient people. After the two of them left, the students in the classroom began to whisper. What's their relationship? Senior Yan's smile was so gentle. This student didn't know how to describe Yen LV. It was weird to use gentle words to describe him. That senior had nothing to do with being gentle. Senior Yen is so handsome, especially when he smiles. I feel like my heart is going to explode. Teacher and Senior Yen have a special relationship. I think they're having an affair. A teacher-student relationship? F***CK, it can't be. What does Senior Yen like about teacher? Why would anyone like a lunatic like her? This world was crazy. He wanted to go back to Mars. After that, Yen LV would appear every day as long as there was a class in Shi Shang. Sometimes he would come empty-handed, and sometimes he would bring something. The rumors about Shi Shang and Yen LV spread like wildfire. Both of them didn't deny it, which meant that they agreed. Yen LV was very happy. She didn't deny it, which meant that she had accepted him. Regardless of whether it was true or not, he had already decided in his heart. Teacher, I'll be back late tonight. After dinner, Yen LV told Shi Shang where he was going. Shi Shang waved his hand, motioning for him to scram. Teacher, don't you care what I'm going to do? Yen LV moved to the side of Shi Shang. Fighting, of course. What else can he do? Other than fighting, what else could he do? Yen LV was stunned. Then, Teacher, aren't you worried about me? Shi Shang pushed him to the side. What could possibly happen to you? She had never seen him get hurt in all these years. Yen LV looked disappointed. He stood up slowly. Teacher, I'm leaving. Shi Shang waved his hand. Yen LV's expression became even more gloomy. He stood there without moving, looking down at Shi Shang. Why aren't you leaving? Shi Shang tilted his head to look at him. The light in front of him suddenly dimmed, and there was a touch of coldness on his lips. Shi Shang. This idiot, why did he always sneak up on him? F***CK. Was this **king kiss? Even a dog's bite would be better than this. Shi Shang reached out and grabbed his collar, deepening the kiss. Yen LV's eyes lit up. The kiss lasted for almost 10 minutes. Shi Shang wanted to let go of him, but Yen LV had learned from him and didn't let go of her. Yen LV's lips brushed past her cheek and landed beside her ear. Teacher, I'm not going. Shi Shang patted his back. Then go and wash the dishes. Yen LV hugged her for a while before letting go slowly. He took the dishes from the table into the kitchen. Just as he put the dishes down, someone called him. He glanced at the caller ID, hung up and switched off his phone. After washing the dishes, he came out and saw Shi Shang sitting on the sofa, playing a game. He smiled slightly and leaned over. Teacher, is the game fun? Yeah, it's alright. Shi Shang was fighting the last boss, so he answered casually. Is the game fun or am I more fun? The game. The tablet was suddenly taken away. Shi Shang was furious. F***CK, what are you doing? Give it back to me, I's about to clear the game. No. Yen LV hid the tablet behind his back. In your heart, am I not better than the game? Shi Shang. Yen LV was being unreasonable again. Very well. Let's beat him up. Teacher, I don't mind if you play with me. Yen LV leaned over to Shi Shang, his voice full of temptation. Play your head. Shi Shang rolled his eyes at Yen LV. He took out another tablet from under the sofa, turned it on, connected to the internet, and logged into the game. Yen LV. How many tablets did she have hidden? Teacher, where's your pay card? Yen LV stared at Shi Shang as he played the game. Why? Yen LV said calmly, I don't have any living expenses. What does that have to do with me? Shi Shang killed a monster. Teacher, am I your boyfriend now? Shi Shang paused and did not reply. Yen LV saw it but pretended not to see it. As a girlfriend, shouldn't you give me living expenses? It was hard for him to reject such a shameless request. Shi Shang looked at him, took out a few cards from his bag and stuffed them into Yen LV's hands. If you want to spend my money, you have to listen to me. Do you understand? Okay, I'll listen to you when I'm not in bed. Yen LV took a bag and took away all the cards. Shi Shang. This brat was pushing his luck. Shi Shang found that everything in the dormitory that could be used to play games had been taken away. He was not worried that she still had her phone. However, the next day, he found that the Wi-Fi was not working. Yen LV. Shi Shang stood in the living room and shouted at the second floor. He was so angry. This idiot was getting out of hand. Yen LV was probably taking a shower. When Shi Shang called him, he came out in a bathrobe. Of course, Shi Shang felt that he was doing it on purpose. For the past few nights, this idiot had been sneaking in the middle of the night and getting kicked out by him. He never got tired of it. Teacher. Yen LV held onto the railing of the stairs. Where did you hide the Wi-Fi? Teacher, do you want to know? Yen LV's face suddenly broke into a smile. Shi Shang rolled up his sleeves and rushed up to him. He dragged him back to the room and pressed him down on the bed. You want it, don't you? Perhaps because Shi Shang looked too ferocious, Yen LV suddenly felt a little scared. Teacher. Are you scared? Shi Shang pulled his bathrobe open. Weren't you pretty good at seducing I just now? Yen LV suddenly closed his eyes. It was as if he was going to let Shi Shang have a taste of him. However, the person on top of him did not move for a long time. After a long time, he finally heard her voice. Hand it over. Asterisk, this is a fake group. Little fairy, I'm not voting to remove your Wi-Fi. Ha ha ha. Cherub. Idiot. Little fairy. Goodbye. Chapter 1089. Shi Shang took the Wi-Fi cable that Yen LV had hidden and pinched his face. Don't think about these useless things. If you fail your subject at the end of the semester, I will punish you. Shi Shang got down from Yen LV's body. Yen LV tugged at his shirt. Will you reward me if I don't fail my subject? Shi Shang pushed him away. It depends on your performance. Yen LV was a little confused. Was he not good enough? He sat up on the bed and adjusted his bathrobe. Then, he jumped off the bed and followed Shi Shang out. Put on your shoes. Shi Shang suddenly turned around and scolded him. Oh. Yen LV went back to putting on his shoes. Shi Shang watched him put on his shoes and smiled. He was cuter like this. Miss Jen. An old man knocked on the office door. He was the form teacher of Year 2, Class 7. Shi Shang opened the door and let him in. The old man was stunned when he saw that there was someone else in the office. However, when he saw who it was, his expression became even stranger. It seemed that the rumors in school were true. Ahem. The form teacher coughed twice. As a teacher here, he knew what to do and what not to do. Miss Jen, it's like this. Our school's anniversary celebration is coming soon and all the classes have to prepare for the program. I'm old and can't stand the torment of those naughty kids. They listen to you now, so I would like to invite you to take care of this matter. What do you think, Miss Jen? The form teacher did not assign the task to her directly. Instead, he asked for her opinion. Okay. The form teacher thought that Shi Shang would refuse. Since last semester, this intern teacher seemed to be possessed and there were people protecting her. He had prepared many excuses, but he did not expect her to agree so easily. Then it's settled. Thank you, Miss Jen. Ahem. I won't disturb you. The form teacher immediately left, as if he was afraid that Shi Shang would go back on his word. After the form teacher left, Yen LV stood up and walked directly to Shi Shang. Are you really not going to accompany me? What am I going to do? If this Bao Bao were to get involved in a fight, people would die. Teacher, if you don't go, I might get hurt. Are you threatening me? Yen LV smiled. That depends on whether you want me to get hurt or not. Shi Shang narrowed his eyes. What if I'm willing to? Yen Lu shrugged. That must be because the teacher doesn't like me enough. Shi Shang really couldn't bear to see him get hurt. She could beat him up, but others couldn't. It was commonly known that he was sick in the late stage. Shi Shang did not want to discuss this with Yen LV. You go out first and wait for me at the school gate. Yen Lu knew that she had agreed, so he obediently went to the school gate. On the road around the mountain, a group of people were speeding. The sound of the engine could be heard halfway up the mountain. The group of people stopped at the foot of the mountain after circling around. A man got out of the car in the lead. He looked a little old and there was a scar on his face that had not fully healed. Boss, it's already so late. Don't tell me he's not coming? A few people got out of the car next to him. They looked at the time and joked while passing a cigarette to the scarred man. The scarred man held the cigarette in his mouth and waited for his underling to light it up. After smoking for a while, he said, "He will come." The other underlings looked at each other and started to flatter the scarred man. Even if he comes, boss can still beat him. Brothers, don't you think so? Yes, boss is the best. The scarred man did not say anything. He leaned against the car and looked into the distance. After about 30 minutes, a silver car slowly approached from afar. Everyone immediately perked up and stood behind the scarred man to support him. The door of the driver's seat opened and a woman got out. Everyone was stunned. Why was it a woman? She was quite good-looking. They watched as the woman walked around the car and opened the door of the front passenger seat. Yen LV got out of the front passenger seat. So it was a chauffeur. Didn't they say that Yen LV was always alone? Why did he bring a girl today? Yen LV, you brought a woman here today. Are you going to give our boss a gift? Ha ha ha, if you admit defeat now, our boss won't make things difficult for you. You don't have to give him such a big gift. Yen LV narrowed his eyes and suddenly moved towards the person who spoke. Before that person could react, he was already on the ground. The man stepped on his chest. What should and shouldn't be said? Let your boss teach you a lesson. He kicked him, and the man slid towards the scarred man. The scarred man threw away the cigarette butt and used his leg to block his underling. However, he did not expect the force to be so strong and his body staggered. Yen LV had one hand in his pocket and smiled contemptuously. F***CK. The scarred man was furious. Yen LV ignored the scarred man's anger. What are we competing on? The scarred man cursed a few times and suddenly laughed sinisterly. I heard that you are good at driving. Why don't we compete today? Up to you. Okay, the loser will leave one hand. Also, if you lose, that girl will stay too. How about that? Yen LV's expression turned cold. She is not a bet. Oh, looks like our young master Yen has fallen for her. The scarred man looked towards Shi Shang. She was sitting in front of the car without a care for her image. She was eating melon seeds with her legs crossed, looking like a gangster. This woman, at first glance, she looked quite ladylike. How did she become like this in the blink of an eye? Yen LV leaned to the side and blocked the scarred man's line of sight. If you dare to have any ideas about her, I will make you regret being born. The scarred man was thinking about something and looked towards Shi Shang again. However, He did not continue to talk about using Shi Shang as a bet. Young Master Yen, shall we go and choose a car? The scarred man pointed at a shop not far away. There was an unwritten rule for car racing here. The car had to be provided by the shop at the foot of the mountain and the model had to be the same. There was half an hour to test the car and they could adjust it according to their preferences. After half an hour, regardless of whether the car was ready or not, the race would officially start. Yen LV randomly pointed at a car and got into it without any intention of adjusting it. The scarred man, on the other hand, took a long time to choose. Shi Shang came over and leaned against the car window. This car has been tampered with. Change to another one. How did you know? Yen LV was not surprised. Instead, he focused on how Shi Shang knew. Shi Shang glanced at the scarred man, who was still dawdling. He didn't know which car you would choose, so he tampered with every car. I just happened to hear it. Teacher, you have good hearing. Of course. Teacher, did you hear me saying that I like you in my heart? Yen LV took the opportunity to tease Shi Shang. Shi Shang glanced at him. Yen LV was so calm. He must know that there was something wrong with the car. Shi Shang ignored him. If you get hurt, I will beat you up until you can't get out of bed for a month. Yen LV chuckled. He leaned his head towards Shi Shang and whispered into her ear, I prefer. Shi Shang snorted. That's all talk, but you still cower when you really fight. Yen LV. Don't be a coward. Hurry up and vote. Monthly votes can't give birth to babies. Chapter 1090. While Shi Shang and Yen LV were discussing shamelessness, the scarred man had already chosen his car and drove to the same starting line as Yen LV. Shi Shang bent down and kissed him on the lips. When he wasn't paying attention, he stuck a talisman in the car. Be careful. Teacher, can you kiss me again? Yen LV's eyes seemed to be pleading, making it hard to reject him. Shi Shang rubbed his head. We'll kiss when you come back. If I win, can you kiss me twice? Don't push your luck. Teacher, when Yen LV tried to act cute, Shi Shang couldn't take it anymore. She quickly surrendered. Okay. Teacher, you're the best. She didn't say how long she would kiss him twice, so he could go back on his word. Shi Shang didn't know that her pet was playing tricks again. After Shi Shang left, Yen LV looked at the inconspicuous corner of the car. He could vaguely see the light yellow talisman. Yen LV smiled and whispered, Teacher, you have so many secrets. But the more you act like this, the more I like you. He couldn't control or resist this kind of love. He could only accept it. Shi Shang returned to the silver car and got in. The final destination was the top of the mountain. They had to wait at the top of the mountain first. Shi Shang waited for Yen LV and the scarred man to set off before he started the car. The scarred man's henchmen followed behind them. Shi Shang's driving skills were impressive. He completely blocked their way. The henchmen behind them were furious. F*CK, this woman is doing it on purpose. F*CK, let's overtake them. A few cars tried to overtake them, but no one could overtake them at the top of the mountain. The henchmen were so angry that they jumped out of the car and went straight to Shi Shang. Little B*TCH, come down. Get I down. Shi Shang rolled down the car window and rested his chin on his hand. Do I have to get off just because you want me to? Then I'll be a little B*TCH if I get off. The henchmen were speechless. You can't get off even if you don't want to. Her underling couldn't take it anymore. He grabbed the Shi Shang roughly and said, I want to get down. Shi Shang grabbed the underling's wrist and twisted it to the side. The underling screamed in pain. Shi Shang pushed the car door open. The door hit the underling's head and he fell to the ground. Shi Shang got out of the car slowly and raised his chin slightly. You don't have to be so courteous. You don't even have the right to kneel to me. All the lackeys. Is this woman the legendary Chunibyu? She didn't even have the right to kneel to her. Who did she think she was? Even Qin Shi Huang didn't have such a big mouth. What are you guys standing there for? Go. Beat this little bitch to death. Ah! Before the lackey could finish his sentence, he was kicked to the ground by Shi Sheng. You want to kill I with your meager skills? Dream on. Let's go. The lackeys on the other side all screamed. A woman dared to be so arrogant in front of them. Did she think they were pushovers? Shi Sheng rolled up his sleeves. When the first person rushed in front of him, he threw a punch and hit the bullseye. Shi Sheng blew on his fist and looked at the people around him arrogantly. You idiots want to fight with me? You might as well commit suicide and be reincarnated for another 18 years. They had seen arrogant people before, but this was definitely the first time they had seen someone so arrogant. Moreover, she was a woman. The lackeys looked at each other and rushed forward again. They didn't believe that they couldn't beat a woman. Screams and wails could be heard from the top of the mountain. The sound of the engine gradually got closer. The two cars were almost neck to neck, but there was still some distance between them. The car that was slightly behind overtook the car in front at the last second. The two cars stopped at the same time, but the sound of the engine didn't disappear. There were more cars behind. The sound gradually got closer and closer. Two more cars appeared. The person from the first car alighted. His white shirt was like a symbol. He immediately caught sight of Shi Sheng's line of sight. His lips curled into a light smile as he walked over to her. Teacher, I won. Shi Sheng looked him up and down. Good, he wasn't injured. Yen Lu hugged Shi Sheng and placed the talisman in Shi Sheng's hand. He whispered in her ear, Teacher, I want to see how many more surprises you can give me. Shi Sheng naturally took the talisman back. There are no surprises, but there are scares. Do you want it? As long as it's from Teacher, I'll gladly accept it. Shi Sheng. Why are you flirting with I? Shi Sheng asked Yen Lu to let go of her. She looked at the car over there. Other than the scarred man, there were two other men. One of them was the male lead. She didn't recognize the other one. He was dressed like a hooligan. His hair was dyed gold and he wore earrings. There were all kinds of strange decorations hanging on his body. He was full of ruffian aura. Shi Sheng thought about it several times in her mind and found a corresponding name, Yen Yi. At first, he was the male lead's enemy. Later, he became the male lead's love rival. Yen Yi knew that Ling Su was close to a girl, so he kidnapped the female lead. As for the female lead, when she was kidnapped, she pitied Yen Yi. After being rescued by the male lead, she chose not to call the police and let him go. From then on, Yen Yi felt that the female lead was a kind and cute little bunny. He had deep feelings for her and started a catfight with the male lead. Shi Sheng didn't understand why she didn't call the police after being kidnapped. It was fine if you said that it was someone you liked. After all, love was blind and could overlook a lot of things. But Yen Yi was an unfamiliar kidnapper from the start. What the hell was sympathy for a kidnapper? She wouldn't sympathize with an unfamiliar kidnapper even if she was beaten to death. Haha, other than Feng Ci, do you have anyone else in your eyes? You must have eaten the word sympathy a long time ago. This scene should be the male lead racing with Yen Yi in order to save the female lead. His luck was too damn good. There were so many mountains nearby, but he chose to come here. F***CK, who are you two? The scarred man was the last to arrive. He got out of the car and went straight to where Ling Su and Yen Yi were. If these two didn't suddenly appear, he wouldn't have lost. The scarred man was filled with hatred. He had obviously done something, but Yen Lu was unharmed. Ling Su coldly glanced at the scarred man and looked at Yen Yi. Where is she? Don't worry, your little beauty is fine. Yen Yi swayed his blonde hair, revealing the earrings on his ears. Ah, Ling Su, I really didn't expect that you would do such a thing for a woman. I wonder what's so special about her? Yen Yi let her go. What's the rush? Yen Yi suddenly looked at Yen Lu and Shi Sheng. Is that Yen Lu from your school? Ling Su followed Yen Yi's line of sight and frowned. Especially when he saw Sher Shang, the disgust in his eyes almost overflowed. Aya, looks like you hate him. What a coincidence. I hate him too. How about this, you and him have a race. If you win, I'll return your little beauty to you. How about that? Asterisk hashtag today's crepe myrtle flower flavored ticket hashtag guess the plot? Guess the plot later hahaha hashtag. Chapter 1091. He didn't expect that he would get shot even though he was lying down. Sher Shang was also in despair. It was all Mr. Plot's fault. If he didn't let the villain and the protagonist fight, it would be like asking for death. Yen Lu hugged Sher Shang's waist and leaned against the car as he looked at the two people. His expression was indifferent and cold. Ling Yu walked towards them and said arrogantly, "Yen Lu, let's have a match." Yen Lu's voice was clear. "You lost. The match just now doesn't count." Yen Yi also walked up. "How about another match?" "No." Yen Lu didn't even look at Yen Yi. "Why, are you scared?" Yen Yi joked. "I heard that England's Yen Lu is very good. I didn't expect him to be a coward." Or, "Are you afraid of embarrassing yourself in front of your woman?" "I don't want to compete with boring people." Yen Lu carried Sher Shang down. "Teacher, let's go back." "Teacher." Yen Yi suddenly raised his voice. "Yo, are you guys playing a teacher-student relationship? Such heavy taste. I didn't expect the legendary Yen Lu to be such a person. Today is an eye-opener for me. Don't you think he deserves a beating?" Sher Shang tilted his head and asked Yen Lu. Yen Lu nodded seriously. "If teacher says he deserves a beating, then he deserves a beating." Sher Shang rolled up his sleeves and looked at Yen Yi with a faint smile. "I'll open your eyes again." That smile was filled with malice. Anyone could see that it was filled with hostility. "You want to fight?" Yen Yi was a little uncomfortable with Sher Shang's gaze, but he couldn't lose in terms of momentum. "You're a woman. I'm afraid I'll beat you until you lose an arm or a leg. Young man, it's good to be confident. But if you look down on women, then you're out of luck." Sher Shang's fingers snapped. In the next second, he grabbed Yen Yi's collar with one hand and grabbed his arm with the other, throwing him to the ground. "Lose an arm or a leg. I'll let you be arrogant. I'll let you be arrogant. I haven't even acted cool and you're already acting cool. F***ck. Yen Yi was pressed to the ground and couldn't resist at all. He clearly felt that the person pressing him down didn't have much strength, but he couldn't break free and could only take the beating. "Do you still want to beat me until I lose an arm or a leg?" Sher Shang squatted beside Yen Yi and asked him with a smile. Yen Yi's nose was bruised and his face was swollen. His body was in even more pain. "Stinky woman, you, wait for this young master. This young master will not let you off. You won't let me go." Sher Shang tilted his head. "Then should I kill you to prevent future trouble?" Yen Yi could also be considered a ruthless character, at his age. He had been in the battlefield for so many years, but he had never met such a person who did not follow the rules. Her serious expression didn't look like she was joking at all. "Teacher, it's not good to kill." The scarred man quickly ran in that direction. The cliff wasn't vertical. It was a slope full of thorns and shrubs. There were traces of something sliding down. The scarred man looked down. There was a cushioning platform below. It wasn't very wide, but at least people wouldn't slide down. The scarred man shouted down a few times. After a while, a weak voice responded to him. "Boss, save me. Boss." Knowing that they were still alive, the scarred man heaved a sigh of relief. He hurriedly called for help and taught these two people a lesson. But just as he took out his phone, his body suddenly fell forward and he fell down. The scarred man quickly grabbed one of the thorny vines and steadied himself. He looked up and saw the woman standing at the edge of the cliff. She was looking at him with her arms crossed. Her calm eyes gave him the illusion that he was already a dead man. "What are you trying to do?" The scarred man suppressed the strange emotions in his heart and shouted at the top of his lungs. He had lost his imposing manner. He was really done for. Shi Shang's eyes curved slightly. "Oh, my foot slipped." "Pfft. Slipped my foot." She was standing so far away just now. How could she have slipped over to him? Who was she kidding? Chapter 1092. It's against the law to kill. The scarred man was so angry that he had lost his mind. "Did I kill you?" Shi Shang sneered arrogantly. "You can still breathe." "You." The scarred man was so angry that he couldn't speak. His hand that was holding onto the thorny vines was in pain as the sharp thorns pierced into his flesh. Shi Shang lifted his leg and kicked the phone that the scarred man had dropped on the ground far away. Whether you can live or not will depend on your abilities. How dare they tamper with Yen Lu's car? They must be tired of living. For a moment, the scarred man felt that he was in hell. The woman above was a malicious spirit in human skin that could take his life at any time. The scarred man had goosebumps all over his body. This was a pervert. The scarred man was speechless. "Police uncle, I want to call the police. There's a pervert here." Shi Shang turned around calmly. The people here were settled, but the people there were not. It was a catfight, so they had to do it one by one. Yan Yi had already stood up and stood beside Ling Su. It was obvious that they had formed a united front. Yan Yi had been beaten up and threatened. At this moment, he hated Shi Shang. "Jian Yin, are you crazy? There are so many people. Aren't you afraid that something will happen?" Even though Ling Su was arrogant, he wouldn't do something like killing someone. "What does it have to do with me? They jumped down themselves. How can you blame me? We saw you kick them down. How can you say that they jumped down themselves?" Yan Yi couldn't even open his eyes. He was panting heavily as he spoke. "Do you think we're all blind? Oh, then do you want to call the police?" Shi Shang took out his phone. "I can call YYYYY for you. I'm afraid that you're blind and dial the wrong number." Yan Yi was speechless. "Crazy." Ling Su was speechless. Why was her reaction so weird? Shi Shang's phone interface stopped at YYYY. He only needed to press a button to dial the number. She looked up at Yan Yi and suddenly said, "I heard that you kidnapped Mu Rong Xiao Xiao?" Yan Yi's heart skipped a beat. He didn't slip up just now, did he? His expression changed slightly, but he didn't deny it. "How did you know?" "I'm a god. There's nothing I don't know." Chunibu Shang was online. "Luckily, you have such a good-looking face." He was a third male lead. Otherwise, he would have been killed long ago. Yan Yi. What was this woman talking about? God. He must be crazy. How did such a person become a teacher at Cherry Orchid Academy? Were the people at Cherry Orchid Academy blind? "Call the police." Shi Shang gestured at Yen Lu with his chin. Yen Lv asked seriously, "Didn't you kill him?" Shi Shang curled his lips in disgust. "You've dirted Ai's sword." Not everyone had the right to die under Ai's sword. The iron sword was speechless. It had chopped down houses, dug up soil, smashed eggs, and killed animals, but it did not feel like talking. Yan Yi never thought that things would develop like this. She actually wanted to call the police. Call the police. She actually wanted to call the police. She had just kicked him off the cliff in front of them. Although he didn't die, it was still a crime of intentional injury. How could she have the face to call the police? Shi Shang really meant it when he said he would call the police. "You lunatic." Yan Yi gritted his teeth. If his family knew that he had kidnapped a girl outside, he didn't know what would happen. "Ling Su, why are you still standing there? Go." He would let her off today. He would definitely take revenge for this. "Why should I go?" Ling Su looked at Yan Yi coldly. The united front collapsed. Yan Yi threatened Ling Su. Don't you want to know where she is? If something happens to me, she won't have a good life either. Ling Su frowned. Yan Yi continued, I'm the only one who knows that place. If I don't call back for more than 24 hours, she will starve to death. Shang took out his melon seeds and watched the male lead and the supporting male lead fight. Sure enough, the main lead was always the main lead. She should just silently eat melon seeds and watch the show. It was enough to act cool occasionally. Ling Su and Yan Yi's fight had escalated to a state of mutual hostility. Both of their faces were tense. It was as if whoever let out a sigh of relief would lose. According to the nearest police station, you don't have much time. If you go down the mountain from here, you might have a romantic encounter with the police car, Shang reported from the side. Yan Yi, Ling Su. There was only one thought in both of their minds. Kill her. This woman was too damn annoying. But they didn't have time to kill her now. Most importantly, based on her strength just now, they wouldn't be able to kill her either. Revenge was a dish best served cold. Get in. Ling Su opened the car door and sat in the driver's seat. Yan Yi immediately limped to the other side of the car door. Shang looked at them while eating melon seeds. He didn't have any intention to stop them. When the car disappeared, Shang looked at Yen Lu. Let's go. You really called the police? Of course. Did she look like a girl who would lie? He, the host never spoke the truth. Yen Lu opened the car door for Shang and smiled. Are we going back to fulfill our promise now? Promise? What promise? She wanted to watch the show now. Follow them. Yen Lu pursed his lips and emphasized. Teacher, I won. I know. Get in the car. I knew that you won. There was no need to remind me. Yen Lu was still standing beside the car and was a little stubborn. You said you would reward me. So what was he thinking just now? Kiss, kiss, kiss. Let's go back and kiss, okay? Let's go now. Damn it. He was going to miss the show. Yen Lu bent slightly and looked straight into Shang's eyes. Teacher, you can't go back on your words. Shang's face darkened. He pushed Yen Lu away, moved to the driver's seat and started the car. Yen Lu was stunned. He quickly opened the car door and got in. The moment the door closed, the car had already sped off. At the entrance of the mountain, Ling Su's car was stopped by the police. Yan Yi betrayed Shang without hesitation and said that she wanted to kill someone. However, the police only looked at her license plate and didn't stop her. Yan Yi widened his eyes in disbelief. What's wrong with you? She wanted to kill someone. Why did you let her go just like that? Sir, you should explain what's wrong with you first. The police were unmoved. Shang's car slowly drove past him. She stretched out her hand and gave Yan Yi the middle finger. Yan Yi, there's a phrase called back door. Next time when you want to cause trouble, remember to use the back door first. Yan Yi was speechless. One of the police officers was speechless. He had never seen someone who used the back door to be so arrogant. Ling Su looked at her silently. After all, he was the male lead. He had to maintain his cool. Shang's car slowly disappeared from their sight. Li Cheng's voice sounded from the car. Miss Yiling, next time something like this happens, can you tell me in advance? You suddenly caused trouble and made me flustered. I'm testing your ability, to see if I've chosen the wrong person. Li Cheng was silent for a while. The old man is wary of me. He only handed over a portion of his power. If he wants to take over the power completely, there's still a tough battle ahead. Miss Yiling, are you really not going to consider helping me? Chapter 1093. In return for today, you'll receive a present tomorrow. Li Cheng asked, What present? The corner of Shang's lips lifted. You want it. Miss Jian, please call me if you need anything like this in the future. Her reward was generous. All he had to do was make a few phone calls. He would definitely not lose out. Miss Jen, to be honest, please consider me. I'll definitely be a qualified boyfriend. Yen Lv's face darkened and his voice was cold. She has a boyfriend. Shang glanced at Yen Lv. Yen Lv snorted and turned his head to look out of the car. There was silence on Li Cheng's end. After a while he spoke. Miss Jen, who was the one who spoke just now? Boyfriend. Shang's tone was unnaturally affectionate. He's throwing a tantrum because of what you said. President Li, I don't think I'll give her that present. Li Cheng hurriedly said, Don't, I'm just kidding. It's best to be friends with someone like Miss Jen. Forget about being partners. I prefer a little white rabbit without claws. What a coincidence, I like that too. Li Cheng was shocked. Ahem, I won't disturb Miss Jen. Just call me if you need anything. After Li Cheng hung up, Yen Lv's voice sounded. So you like this type? What type? Yen Lv's tone was strange. Little white rabbit. Shang tapped his fingers on the steering wheel. It's a pity that you're not. Yen Lv pursed his lips and turned his head away. There was silence in the car. Shang suddenly stopped the car. Yen Lv, weren't you afraid of me at all when we were at the top of the mountain? Yen Lv lowered his head and said in a muffled voice, Why should I be afraid of you? Don't you think? Shang leaned towards him. Cold-blooded. Yen Lv continued, Teacher, I hope that you'll be cold-blooded to everyone in the world. That way, I'll be different in your heart. Cold fingers pinched his chin, forcing him to look up. He was met with a smiling face. She kissed him on the lips. It's good that you keep your sharp claws in front of me. I don't want you to be controlled by others outside. Yen Lv took a while to come back to his senses. Teacher, you've accepted me? Although she didn't deny it before, she didn't admit it either. Shang retracted his hand and started the car again. The scenery outside the window flashed past quickly. Yen Lv seemed to be able to hear his own heartbeat. It was very clear, like the beating of a drum. The car stopped at a dessert shop. Shang got out and came back up with a few bags in her hands. She stuffed them into Yen Lv's hands. Yen Lv immediately kissed Shang on the cheek. Thank you, teacher. Shang shook his head and continued driving. When they arrived at the dormitory, Yen Lv had finished all the desserts. Shang looked at him strangely and asked, How do you maintain your figure? If a girl ate so much, she would be as fat as a ball, right? Because I exercise regularly. Yen Lv smiled ambiguously. Teacher, do you want to experience it? You think I'm scared of you? The last time this guy had seduced her, she had wanted to sleep with him, but because of his previous behavior, she did not touch him. Yen Lv met Shang's ambiguous gaze. His heart, which had just calmed down, suddenly sped up again. A sense of uneasiness rose from the bottom of his heart. Yen Lv did not speak on the way from the garage to the dormitory. The moment he entered the dormitory, he slipped back into his room. Shang looked at the tightly shut door in amusement. He shook his head and went into his room. Shang took a shower in her room and sat at the table to pack the present for Li Cheng tomorrow. Time flew by unknowingly and it was getting dark outside. By the time Shang finished packing everything and sent it to Li Cheng, it was almost 9 in the evening. Ha! Shang yawned. He pushed the computer away, stretched his back and stood up. He walked to the door. The moment the door opened, the person outside was exposed. Yen Lv seemed to be shocked. He took 2 steps back and said, Teacher. He was only wearing a bathrobe. She did not know how long he had been standing outside for. Are you ready? Yen Lv took a deep breath. I'm ready. Okay. Go and get me something to eat first. I'm so hungry. Sheng walked downstairs. Yen Lv grabbed her wrist and pushed her against the wall. He said in a low and hoarse voice, Teacher, I will feed you. No, I was really hungry. She did not want to do things on an empty stomach. Yen LV, I'm hungry. Shi Shang was met with an even more intimate kiss. Yen LV was very nervous for the first time. Fortunately, the process was okay. After they were done, Shi Shang lay on the bed. She did not even want to move a finger. Yen LV wrapped himself in a bathrobe and squatted by the bed. He held her face and said, "Teacher, I'm sorry. Did I hurt you?" "I'm hungry," Shi Shang said weakly. "You're full. Can you feed me?" This fellow had eaten so many desserts when he came back. She did not eat anything. Yen LV's face turned red. "Teacher, wait for a while." He straightened Shi Shang and left the room to get something to eat. Yen LV was very fast. There was not much food in the fridge, so he could only cook a bowl of noodles. Fortunately, he saved Shi Shang's dying stomach. Buzz. Shi Shang's phone on the table suddenly vibrated. Yen LV was closer to the table. He took the phone and saw that it was an unknown number. He handed it to Shi Shang. "Put it on speaker." Yen LV obediently put it on speaker. "No. Don't touch me." Bang. Crash. Strange sounds came from the other end of the phone. It sounded like an argument. There was a man scolding and a girl's panicked scream. Shi Shang stopped slurping noodles. Why did the voice on the other end sound so much like Lin Qianlong? Shi Shang craned his neck to look at the number. It was not Lin Qianlong's number. "Give me your phone." Chapter 1094. When Shi Shang arrived at the location, there was no one there. There were only signs of a struggle and a phone that was still connected. There was a photo on the phone. Shi Shang recognized her. She was one of his students. Why was Lin Qianlong with a student from his class? Shi Shang looked around. There were no surveillance cameras here, so it was a blind spot. There were all kinds of alleys in the distance and there was a street behind them. However, the cameras there couldn't capture the car leaving. Once the car merged into the traffic, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. This place, it was a good choice. Lin Yixuan arrived later with a tall boy. There were a few people behind the boy. They were probably his friends. Young Master Yen. When the boy saw Yen LV, he was obviously shocked. When he saw Yen LV hugging Shi Shang's waist, his expression was beyond shocked. Yen LV's gaze was fixed on Shi Shang. He didn't even look at anyone else. This was even more shocking. Since when did young Master Yen care so much about someone? "Sir, his phone is switched off." Lin Yixuan looked at Shi Shang helplessly. She could still get through to him a moment ago, but now she could only hear a cold electronic voice telling her that the number she had dialed was switched off. Did something happen to Qianlong? The boy quickly retracted Shi Shang from Yen LV and comforted his girlfriend. "Yixuan, calm down. It's all my fault. I should have agreed to go out with her this afternoon. Maybe then this wouldn't have happened. Yixuan, look at me. Calm down. The most important thing right now is to find her." Shi Shang contacted the homeroom teacher and asked him to find out who the owner of the phone had gone out with this afternoon. The homeroom teacher quickly got back to him. Wei Jingjing was from the student council. Because of the anniversary celebration, they had to buy a lot of things. Wei Jingjing had also been assigned a task. She had asked Fan Rou and a few other classmates to go out with her. As for Lin Qianlong, she wasn't from the student council. However, she had gone out with a classmate from the student council. This classmate happened to know Wei Jingjing, so they had gone out together. Shi Shang asked the homeroom teacher to compile a list of phone numbers for her. He only hoped that someone's phone hadn't been taken away. Shi Shang tried one by one, but all their phones were switched off. Lin Yixuan was also mobilizing her friends to help her search. As the night deepened, Shi Shang leaned against Yen LV. Yen LV suddenly passed the phone to her. Shi Shang glanced at him. Yen LV smiled and said, "He has news." Shi Shang answered the phone suspiciously. The person on the other end of the line greeted her respectfully as Miss Jane. Without wasting any time, he directly told her that he had some useful clues. I thought you didn't have any underlings? Shi Shang returned the phone to Yen LV. I'm just not bringing anyone with me. It didn't mean that he didn't have anyone under him. Shi Shang thought about it and agreed. People only said that Yen LV liked to be alone, but no one said that he had no followers. Get in the car, Shi Shang shouted at several people in the distance. Lin Yixuan immediately ran over. Teacher, is there any news? Yes. Not only did Lin Yixuan not feel relieved, she became even more nervous. Teacher, can I sit in the same car as you? Shi Shang looked at Yen Lu. This car was not hers. I don't like it, Yen LV said bluntly. He didn't like anyone other than her sitting in his car. Not men or women. Lin Yixuan was afraid of Yen LV and didn't dare to force him. She ran back to her boyfriend's car and followed behind Shi Shang. As the car drove further and further away, Lin Yixuan's bad feeling grew stronger and stronger. She couldn't stop her tears from falling. Yixuan, don't worry. Didn't Qianlong learn judo? She'll be fine. She only learned it for a week. She can't even beat me. Lin Yixuan cried even harder. The boy suddenly didn't know what to say. At this moment, all the comforting words seemed so weak. On the other hand, Shi Shang was very calm. She nestled in the front passenger seat with a calm expression. It was as if she wasn't there to save someone, but to go for a ride with her boyfriend. Yen LV's lips curled up unnaturally. Teacher, if I went missing, what would you do? Kill you, Shi Shang answered without hesitation. Teacher. Shi Shang tilted her head and looked at him. Yen LV returned her a bright smile and said slowly, I love you. Shi Shang stared at him for a few seconds. Yen LV's hands on the steering wheel began to sweat. After a long time, he heard her say, Love is made. Yen LV was speechless. Couldn't she give a more normal answer? The car stopped outside a secluded alley. A few people were already waiting there. When they saw the car, they sized it up for a few seconds. After confirming that it was the car they were waiting for, they immediately ran over. Young Master Yen. Yen LV got out of the car and looked indifferent. Who did it? The underling immediately said, It's Guan Jian's men. A girl named Wei Jingjing offended him and they got into a fight. After that, Guan Jian was taken away by them. Young Master Yen, do you need me to lead the way? No need. You stay and lead the way. The rest of you, go back. The underling wasn't surprised at all. He waved his hand and signaled for the others to leave while he stayed behind to lead the way. When he saw the people coming out of the car behind them, the underling was a little confused. These people didn't look like martial artists. Why was young Master Yen leading them? Shi Shang was the last to get out of the car. Since she came out of Yen LV's car, the underling immediately knew who she was and greeted her respectfully. Shi Shang dragged an iron sword and waved it in the air. Let's go. Yen LV narrowed his eyes. He was very sure that she didn't bring anything with her, so this sword, sure enough, it always gave him a surprise. When the others saw Shi Shang's sword, they felt a chill run up from the bottom of their feet. They subconsciously fell behind a few steps. In front of them, Shi Shang and Yen LV walked side by side. The girl seemed to be saying something. The boy tilted his head and listened. Occasionally, he would smile and reply to her. Looking at this scene, those who didn't know better would think that they were here for an outing. However, the underling leading the way in front was tormented. Where did young Master Yen find such a girlfriend? She was talking about how to beat someone up later. He was so angry that he had goosebumps all over. The underling brought them to an old courtyard. Young Master Yen, this is the place. The courtyard was very quiet. Not a single sound could be heard except for the sound of dogs barking in the alley. The sound was sometimes high and sometimes low, and it was a little eerie in the dark. Yen LV looked directly at Shi Shang. It was obvious that he wanted her to make the decision. Shi Shang walked up the stairs and knocked on the door. The underling was dumbfounded. "No, Miss Jen, is it really okay for you to knock on the door like this? We seem to be here to save someone, but you're just going up directly. This is simply a challenge." It's completely different from the police and gangster movies that he watched. Their identities were completely reversed. Only bad guys would dare to be so arrogant. Shi Shang knocked on the door loudly. Curses could be heard from inside. Then, the metal door opened. There was no one in sight. A rough voice was heard first. "Why are you knocking on the door in the middle of the night? Who are you looking for? You're courting death." Chapter 1095. The person who opened the door was a muscular man with a bare upper body. He muttered to himself when he heard Shi Shang's words. "SH*T? Why is she looking for SH*T in the middle of the night? She must be crazy." But when he looked up and saw the person outside with the help of the overhead light, his eyes widened in shock. "This chick is hot." The muscular man smiled maliciously and chuckled. "What are you looking for? I'll help you find it. Do you want to die?" Shi Shang raised his leg and kicked the muscular man. The muscular man was stunned by the kick, but the cold ground woke him up immediately. "F***, you're looking for trouble." He immediately jumped up from the ground and yelled at the top of his lungs. The people inside came out one after another. Most of them were adults and only a few looked younger. "Why are you yelling in the middle of the night? What's going on?" Shi Shang knocked down these people while Yen LV stood behind and watched. He realized that she looked so good when she was beating people up. After such a big commotion, the big bosses inside couldn't sit still anymore and came out. "Yen LV?" The big boss saw the boy standing at the door. His white shirt and face were too eye-catching. It was hard not to see him. Yen LV shifted his gaze from Shi Shang to the big boss. "Guan Jian. What are you doing here?" Guan Jian looked at him with disdain. "We've minded our own business. Are you trying to cross the line?" "I'm here to accompany my girlfriend." Yen LV looked at Shi Shang. "How can someone like you have a girlfriend?" Guan Jian blurted out as he sized up Shi Shang, who had knocked down so many of his men. The person who had been beaten up by Shi Shang just now was also terrified. It was Yen LV, and this woman was Yen LV's girlfriend. He suddenly felt lucky that they didn't win. Why can't he have a girlfriend? Shi Shang looked at Guan Jian coldly. Guan Jian didn't reply to Shi Shang. He continued to say to Yen LV, "Since she's your man, you should give me an explanation. Why did you beat up my men?" Yen LV came in from the yard and stood beside Shi Shang. His voice was soft and filled with affection. "She likes it." The courtyard suddenly quieted down. "Yen Lu, are you looking for trouble today?" Guan Jian was the first to break the silence. He knew how difficult it was to deal with this man, but since he had already come to the door, he would not hold back. Yen LV repeated, "I said, I'm only here to accompany my girlfriend." Guan Jian obviously didn't believe him. "What? The famous young Master Yen needs a woman as an excuse to pick a fight?" Yen LV didn't explain further, as if saying, "You can think whatever you want." Shi Shang didn't want to listen to them bickering. "Cut the crap. Where is Lin Qianlong?" Guan Jian frowned. "Who's Lin Qianlong?" "Among the people you took away today, there's a girl named Lin Qianlong." "Hand her over." One of Yen LV's underlings stood up and said. He was here to look for someone. Guan Jian sized them up cautiously before asking the person behind him, "Is there someone called Lin Qianlong?" "I think so." They weren't sure either. Guan Jian frowned even more. "Are you really here to look for someone?" "Mr. Guan, young Master Yen is a man of his word. You know the rules. Go and see if there's someone called Lin Qianlong." Guan Jian didn't really want to go against Yen LV. It wouldn't do him any good. Although he felt a little aggrieved, he wanted to keep the peace if he could. Lin Qianlong was quickly brought out. She was unconscious and her clothes were still intact. There weren't any injuries, so she should be fine. Guan Jian explained, "We didn't do anything to her. She was too noisy, so we knocked her out." Lin Yixuan, who had been standing outside, saw Lin Qianlong. She ignored the boy's attempts to stop her and rushed in. "Qianlong, Qianlong, wake up. Qianlong, wake up." Lin Yixuan shook her a few times before Lin Qianlong slowly regained consciousness. She looked a little confused, but when she saw the person in front of her, she panicked. "Yixuan, why are you here? Were you caught too?" "Qianlong, you're fine. Your teacher is here to save you." Lin Yixuan quickly comforted Lin Qianlong. "Teacher Jian?" As soon as Lin Yixuan mentioned her teacher, Lin Qianlong immediately thought of Shi Sheng. "I didn't know you were working for young Master Yan. If I've offended you, please forgive me." Guan Jian was a flexible person. "She's not working for me." Yan Lv glanced at Lin Qianlong. His voice was a little cold. Guan Jian was speechless. "You came all the way here for her. How could she not be working for you?" Guan Jian was smart. When he saw the girl standing next to Yan Lv, he immediately understood. If she wasn't working for him, then she must be his girlfriend's friend. This Yan Lv really did have a girlfriend. Guan Jian apologized to Shi Shang and explained that Lin Qianlong was just a misunderstanding. He even taught the person who caught Lin Qianlong a lesson. His attitude was so good that Shi Shang couldn't find fault with him even if he wanted to. After all, he had beaten up so many people just now. It was worth it. Lin Qianlong was just an accessory. Their target was Wei Jingjing. Whatever happened to Wei Jingjing was not within Lin Qianlong's consideration. "Let's go." Shi Shang pulled Yan Lv out. "Take care, young Master Yan." Lin Yixuan supported Lin Qianlong. She caught up with Shi Shang in a few steps. "Teacher, my friend." Shi Shang tilted his head and glanced at her. His eyes were cold. "I have no obligation to save your friend." Lin Yixuan pinched Lin Qianlong and shook her head. Lin Qianlong had always listened to Lin Yixuan. When Lin Yixuan gestured, Lin Qianlong immediately shut up. Shi Shang turned his head and said to Yan Lv, "Yan Lv, I'm tired. Then I'll carry you back." As soon as Yan Lv finished speaking, he had already picked up Shi Shang and strode out. The young man who had led the way followed behind with a strange look on his face. Young Master Yan really did have a girlfriend. Yan Lv left with Shi Shang, leaving Lin Yixuan and Lin Qianlong alone. "Yixuan, what about my friend?" Lin Qianlong grabbed Lin Yixuan's hand anxiously. "Didn't you notice? The teacher doesn't look right today. She doesn't seem to be feeling well. To put it bluntly, she's already done all she can by coming to you. If you still ask her to save your friend, aren't you just asking for trouble?" Lin Yixuan was more observant than Lin Qianlong. At first, she had thought that teacher was difficult to get along with. Later, she realized that she had only made exceptions because of Lin Qianlong. Although she didn't know the reason, Lin Qianlong's words were more effective than hers. As long as Lin Qianlong didn't go overboard and pester her, she would eventually agree. Lin Qianlong thought back. Shi Shang had been leaning against Yan Lv the whole time. His face had looked pale too. He had indeed looked unwell. Lin Qianlong's face turned pale. "I was too anxious and didn't think too much. Teacher won't be angry with me, right?" Lin Yixuan shook her head. "How would she know?" Lin Qianlong bit her lip. "Yixuan, what about my friend? You can't just leave him in the lurch, right?" There were still a few juniors. Lin Yixuan thought for a while. "Call the police." #hashtag begging for epiphyllum votes today #hashtag voting #hashtag it's the end of the month, okay? Monthly votes. Don't keep them. There are only 2 more days until the end of the month. This month, there will be 29, 30, and 31 votes. Don't keep them anymore #. Chapter 1096. Lin Qianlong and Lin Yixuan had called the police, but when the police arrived, they only found Lin Qianlong's classmates and a few other girls. Wei Jingjing was nowhere to be found. Wei Jingjing's disappearance had caused a huge commotion in school. Mu Rong Xiaoxiao had somehow heard that Shi Shang had gone to save Lin Qianlong but not Wei Jingjing that day. She angrily went to confront Shi Shang. "Why didn't you save her?" Shi Shang was talking to the homeroom teacher about the anniversary celebration when Mu Rong Xiaoxiao suddenly barged in, her face full of anger. The homeroom teacher was dumbfounded. "Miss Mu Rong, how can you talk to your teacher like that?" Mu Rong Xiaoxiao stared straight at Shi Shang. "Why didn't you save her? That's a life. You saved Senior Lin. Why didn't you save her?" If you have something to do, I'll come back later." The homeroom teacher immediately retreated to protect herself. After the homeroom teacher left, only Shi Shang and Mu Rong Xiaoxiao were left in the office. Shi Shang looked at Mu Rong Xiaoxiao calmly. "Why should I save her? Even if she didn't have a grudge against Wei Jingjing, why should she save her? You're a teacher. Why didn't you save her? If anything happens to her, it's all your fault." Mu Rong Xiaoxiao was even more agitated. Shi Shang sneered. It was a teacher's job to be in charge of school affairs, but outside of school, it had nothing to do with the teacher. It was their business whether they wanted to save her or not. "Miss Mu Rong, Wei Jingjing often bullies you, right? Why are you still helping her? Do you have masochistic tendencies?" Mu Rong Xiaoxiao probably also thought about how she had been bullied. Her face paled, but she still said, "That doesn't mean she has to die." "Then go save them yourself. What are you yelling at me for?" The female lead Darren's mind was really broad. Regardless of whether others could do it, she definitely couldn't do it. Revenge must be exacted and no future trouble will come. These 8 words were her principle of survival. "Teacher, why are you so cold-blooded?" Last time, she had abandoned her on the road. This time, she didn't even care about a living person. "You're kind. Go ahead. So what if I'm cold-blooded? If you're not convinced, you can try it too." If she knew where Wei Jingjing was, would she still ask her? Besides, she didn't have the ability to save Wei Jingjing. He was incapable, yet others didn't step forward to help him. Instead, he blamed others for being cold-blooded. If he had to blame someone, he could only blame himself for being weak. Mu Rong Xiaoxiao's eyes reddened as if she was very disappointed. "Teacher, I really didn't expect you to be such a person. You could have saved her, but you didn't." Shi Shang didn't want to talk to Mu Rong Xiaoxiao about something so boring. "You're the best, okay? Hurry up and save the world. Don't stay here and criticize me." She paused and smiled coldly. "What right do you have to criticize me?" Standing on the moral high ground, he really thought of himself as a judge. Shi Shang bluntly chased Mu Rong Xiaoxiao out. As soon as the door closed, the whole world fell silent. Soon, the school spread the news that Shi Shang had left his students in the lurch. The 2 words, Jian Yin, were probably the hottest topic in the school now. Wei Jingjing's family couldn't find her, so they could only vent their anger on Shi Shang and ask the school to chase Shi Shang out. The school didn't dare to do that. The higher-ups had given orders, and Shi Shang's words were equivalent to Chairman Li's words. Now, Li Cheng wasn't just a man who only cared about Yinglong. He was also the CEO of Shihuan Group. With Li Cheng's connections, the Wei family didn't dare to cause any more trouble. If this continued, the entire Wei family might be gone. Do you think Teacher Jian would really do such a thing? During the break, the students gathered together to discuss this. "What wouldn't she do?" the person next to them asked. "Who's her backer? He's so powerful. Even the Wei family doesn't dare to provoke him." "It should be Senior Yen." Someone guessed. Yen Lv's background had always been a mystery. His file was blank except for that name. How shameless. As a teacher, she actually seduced Senior Yen. A girl said angrily. "How do you know he didn't seduce me?" The girl immediately retorted loudly, "How is that possible? Senior Yen isn't that kind of person." She turned her head and saw Shi Shang and Yen LV standing a few steps away from her. Yen LV spoke first. "I was the one who seduced the teacher. If I hear such words again, you'll have to bear the consequences." The girl's face turned pale. She wanted to bury her head in the ground. How could she be so unlucky? What a coincidence that her words were overheard. "Have you finished the homework I gave you yesterday?" At the mention of homework, the expressions of the onlookers changed. Shi Shang continued, "Seeing that you're so free, you must have finished it. Then, do it again." The students were speechless. The fear of being dominated by homework. Shi Shang sent Yen LV away and let the students into the classroom. Mu Xiaoxiao wasn't in the classroom. She might have gone to save the world. "We need to prepare a program for the anniversary celebration." "What program are you going to prepare?" Shi Shang sat on the podium without a care for his image. The students were silent. No one dared to speak. "If you don't speak, does that mean you don't want to participate?" "Fine, I'll tell them that you're abstaining." "Abstaining? How could that be?" The students who had been silent immediately spoke up. "Teacher, our class produced a play last year. Why don't we produce a play this year?" "No creativity. Change it." "Dance." "No creativity. Change it." "Sing." "No creativity. Change it." The students were speechless. All the proposed programs had been rejected. They couldn't possibly perform acrobatics, right? "Teacher, what program do you think we should perform?" A student couldn't help but shout. "How about breaking a rock on your chest?" The students were speechless. They were really going to perform acrobatics? F***ck, this was asking for their lives. Who the hell would break a rock on their chest at the anniversary celebration? They were aristocrats. Aristocrats, okay? Not street acrobatics. "Teacher, it doesn't suit our noble temperament." "You don't like it?" Shi Shang raised his eyebrows. "Who would like that?" Shi Shang tilted his head and thought for a while. "Change it. Let's do a choir." His tone was clearly firm. He wasn't asking for their opinion at all. So he had already thought about it. Why did he still ask them? As students who had been bullied, they didn't dare to vote against it. They could only do as Shi Shang said and do a choir. A choir was better than breaking a rock on their chest. The choir was called Hero's Song. Don't ask them why they chose this song. Anyway, that was what she said. "Okay, after school in the afternoon, go to the field to practice." Shi Shang knocked on the podium. "This class is self-study." "Teacher, why do we have to go to the field?" There were so many people. Why would they go to the field to practice? Shi Shang said with a serious face, "The field is wide enough for you to perform." Asterisk, this is a fake group. Police team. Finally, there are people who have the same experience as us. Student team. We were only bullied in one dimension, unlike some people who were bullied in several dimensions. Police team. Hashtag additional update has been delivered. Please check it hashtag monthly votes. 4,000 plus updates hashtag. Chapter 1097. Teacher, you did it on purpose. She wanted to see them embarrass themselves. Shi Shang admitted generously, "Yeah, I did it on purpose." The only thing missing was the words "What can you do to me?" written all over his face. The students were speechless. They never wanted to meet a teacher who was completely different from the flirtatious B***cheese they knew. This teacher was definitely their worst nightmare. When the high school students were dismissed, they saw a strange scene. The students of Year 2 Class 7 were standing on the field and singing a hero song. Everyone expressed their opinions. This was the rhythm of being driven crazy by that lunatic teacher. The students of Year 2 Class 7 who received a wave of sympathy points instantly became popular in England. Hearing the news, People who came to visit surrounded them so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Shi Shang arrived late and even brought that fiend Yen Lu with her. The people watching the show immediately moved aside to make room for her. These two didn't know how to keep a low profile when they were in a teacher-student relationship. Alright, the school didn't care about them at all. What are you standing here for? Spectators have to pay the entrance fee. Shi Shang's first words were directed at the spectating students. The students were speechless. They glanced at Yen LV, who was standing like a painting, and silently turned around to give up the field. Who asked her to have such an awesome boyfriend? Everyone, practice hard and try to get first place. The students just wanted to laugh at Shi Shang's face. How could they get first place with a hero song? If they didn't get last place, they would have laughed until they cried. Shi Shang made this group of people feel like they had nothing left to live for. They wanted to find a brick and smash him to death, but they didn't dare and could only sing a hero song in front of so many people. The river flows to the east. The stars in the sky form the Big Dipper. Time seemed to have been slowed down. They felt like a century had passed before Shi Shang dismissed them. However, when they heard that they would be back the next day, they just wanted to find a place to die. He had completely lost his face. The whole school probably knew that the students of Year 2 Class 7 had gone crazy and were singing a hero song in the field. Just as the students of Year 2 Class 7 were about to go crazy, Wei Jingjing found her. Mu Rong Xiao went to look for Wei Jingjing alone. Not only did she fail to save her, she even got herself into trouble. In the end, it was the second male supporting lead who rescued her. Wei Jingjing was more miserable. Not only was she defiled, but her face was also disfigured. Wei Jingjing was defiled before Mu Rong Xiao went, but her face was disfigured after Mu Rong Xiao went. The two must have had an unspeakable fight, so Wei Jingjing hated Mu Rong Xiao to the core. She probably even wanted to kill her. I really didn't expect things to turn out this way. Shi Shang was reading the gossip when he suddenly heard someone crying. Shi Shang parted the leaves and looked down. Two figures were walking towards them. One of them was Mu Rong Xiao, and the other was wearing a university uniform. He looked very gentle and was the perfect choice for the second male lead. This was Ou Chen. It's okay, Xiao. This has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. Ou Chen's voice was as gentle as his personality. Senior, what should I do? Mu Rong Xiao was out of her wits and cried very sadly. Ou Chen pulled her into his arms. You didn't do anything wrong. You don't have to do anything. But... Ou Chen sighed. Xiao, you're too kind. Shi Shang pursed his lips. She was so kind that she was a little retarded. Shi Shang couldn't go down now. He could only sit on top and listen to the story below. It was nothing more than Ou Chen comforting Mu Rong Xiao, Mu Rong Xiao being grateful, and then the male lead catching them in the act. Mu Rong Xiao, what are you doing? Shi Shang almost fell from the roar. She quickly grabbed onto the tree trunk to stabilize herself. She had to be careful while watching the show. It was dangerous. Ling Su took a few steps forward and threw a punch at Ou Chen. F***CK, fight. Watch the show and eat melon seeds. Ling Su, what are you doing? Mu Rong Xiao was stunned for a moment. When she came back to her senses, she immediately pulled Ling Su. Ling Su ignored Mu Rong Xiao and continued to punch Ou Chen. At first, Ou Chen didn't fight back. However, after seeing Ling Su push Mu Rong Xiao away violently, Ou Chen couldn't help but punch Ling Su in the stomach. I thought you could protect Xiao, but what happened in the end? Ling Su, what right do you have to hit me? She is my woman. You tried so hard to get close to her. Tell me, what right do I have to hit you? Xiao is not an object. You have no right to restrict who she is with. Ling Su, you are too selfish. The two of them punched each other fiercely. Mu Rong Xiao wanted to stop the fight, but she couldn't even touch the corner of their clothes. In the end, Ling Su accidentally pushed Mu Rong Xiao to the flower bed at the side and she hit her forehead. Only then did the two of them stop. Xiao Xiao, are you okay? Oh Yu Chen immediately ran over. Ling Su stood at the same spot and watched gloomily as Oh Yu Chen carried Mu Rong Xiao. When Oh Yu Chen was about to leave with Mu Rong Xiao, he suddenly grabbed Mu Rong Xiao's hand. Mu Rong Xiao, do you want to choose him? Mu Rong Xiao was hit quite hard. She felt very uncomfortable and her head was dizzy. She couldn't hear what Ling Su was saying. Oh Yu Chen looked at Ling Su coldly. Xiao is hurt. You will only make her feel worse if you hold on to her. Mu Rong Xiao. Ling Su didn't let go. Instead, he held her even tighter. Mu Rong Xiao covered her head and said softly, Senior, let's go. Ling Su tightened his grip. Mu Rong Xiao, do you really want to choose him? Shi Shang was anxious. The male lead must have cat biscuits. If you don't want her to leave, you can just snatch her over. Why do you have to ask such a boring question? Well, if you don't ask, the plot won't continue. It's all a trap. Just as Shi Shang was complaining, Ling Su suddenly let go of his hand. He sneered, Mu Rong Xiao, let's break up. He turned and strode away as if he was running away. Shi Shang watched him walk past the tree he was sitting under. Compared to the male lead, he suddenly realized that the idiot Feng Ci didn't seem so annoying anymore. After Ling Su left, Mu Rong Xiao was also taken away by Oh Yu Chen. Shi Shang was about to go down when someone suddenly came up from behind. Teacher, what are you doing here alone? Shi Shang's mouth twitched. How did you find me here? Yan LV rubbed Shi Shang's head. No matter where you are, I can find you. Did you put something strange on me? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old kid? Teacher, I won't do such a thing. Even though he had thought of it, he didn't do it. Yan LV suddenly approached Shi Shang. His eyes were a little dazed. Teacher, you still owe me 2 kisses. No. We've already slept together. You're still thinking about it. He kissed Shi Shang directly. His cold tongue pried open her lips and teeth. Shi Shang was also in despair from his inexperience to his current proficiency. Teacher, you owe me this. Chapter 1098. Ever since Mu Rong Xiao and Ling Su broke up, the two fell into a cold war. Every time Ling Su wanted to look for Mu Rong Xiao, he would find her flirting with someone else. The misunderstanding deepened. Under such circumstances, Yinglan's anniversary celebration arrived as promised. After singing for so long, the students of Year 2 Class 7 finally saw a glimmer of hope. As long as they embarrassed themselves once at the anniversary celebration, they would not be tortured again. They would never provoke that crazy teacher again. On the day of the anniversary celebration, Shi Shang arrived early. Due to her special status, the school arranged for her seat to be closest to the stage. The people sitting next to her were all respected teachers. She was the only young one who sat calmly. Students entered the venue one after another. The high school and university students were performing together. There were many people and all kinds of voices were mixed together. Ah! It's Prince Su, Prince Su. I saw Prince Su. I'm so happy. It's true, Prince Su. Prince Su, look here. Prince Su is so handsome. I want to have his babies. Screams came from the entrance. Shi Shang turned her head and saw Ling Su walking in. His expression was cold and his posture was handsome. Instantly, he attracted many fans. Just as Ling Su was walking down the stairs, Mu Rong Xiao came out of nowhere and bumped into him. The surroundings suddenly quieted down. Mu Rong Xiao and Ling Su were dating secretly. The people in the school only knew that Mu Rong Xiao and Ling Su were close. However, Ling Su's attitude towards Mu Rong Xiao was very bad recently. Naturally, these people bullied her even more unscrupulously. Someone in the crowd seemed to be scolding them for being shameless. Mu Rong Xiao got up from the ground awkwardly. She did not know who pushed her just now. She looked back and saw that the place was full of people. The lights were dim, so she did not know who pushed her. Ling Su looked at her as if she was a stranger. Mu Rong Xiao suddenly felt wronged. "I'm sorry." Ling Su acted as if he did not hear her and walked past her. The girls behind him pushed her away arrogantly. Ling Su walked towards the first row. When he saw Shi Shang, he paused and walked to a seat next to him. There was a teacher between them, and the teacher greeted Ling Su warmly. However, Ling Su had an arrogant look on his face and ignored the teacher. The teacher was a little embarrassed and retracted his gaze to look at the stage. At this moment, Ling Su suddenly turned his head to look at Shi Shang. Coincidentally, Shi Shang was sizing him up. Ling Su sneered and looked away in the next second. "Shi Shang. I haven't done anything recently. Male lead Darren, don't shoot arrows everywhere just because you've fallen out of love. This baby is innocent." Ling Su crossed his arms as he sat in his seat. His eyes scanned the crowd from time to time, obviously looking for Mu Rong Xiao. Shi Shang lowered his head and played with his phone. The noise around him had suddenly quieted down. It was very quiet. Shi Shang turned to look at the door. When Ling Su came down, he was surrounded by the crowd. When Yen Lu came down, he was surrounded by the crowd of officials. Everyone backed out of the corridor, not even daring to breathe as they watched the tall boy walk down step by step. "Teacher." Yen Lv stood in front of Shi Shang with a smile. F***CK. Even more extravagant than I. Bad review. Host, is this your only focus? There was no empty seat beside Shi Shang. Yen Lv looked at the person beside her. That person immediately understood and stood up. They couldn't afford to offend all of them. Yen Lv sat down without hesitation. He placed his hand naturally on Shi Shang's waist and whispered in his ear, "Teacher, you didn't wait for me this morning. I called you but you didn't want to get up." Shi Shang rolled his eyes. "I was tired last night. Can't you understand?" "Haha, no. Men couldn't say no. You're so heartless." Yen Lv touched her face and said happily, "But I like this kind of teacher." Humph. Yen Lv looked up at Ling Su and smiled ambiguously. Then, he lowered his head to look at Shi Shang playing his game. A few minutes after Yen Lv arrived, the MC went on stage. Today is the 60th anniversary of Yinglong High School. Here, we offer our sincerest blessings to our alma mater. After a long series of unimportant congratulatory words, the principal of Yinglong High School gave a speech. When the principal gave a speech, he would just say a few simple sentences. Then, the two simple sentences would repeat endlessly. "Thank you, principal." When the principal finally finished, the MC continued to read the script. Next up is the performance. Students who are participating in the performance, please get ready. Not every class could participate in this kind of performance. Sometimes, a few classes would work together and fight for a spot. There was no other performance like the one in Year 2 Class 7 where the whole class participated. The students in Year 2 Class 7 suddenly felt that singing together was a good idea. At least they didn't have to fight for a spot. The students' performance was nothing more than singing, dancing, drama and skits. Shi Shang was bored and didn't even fight. "Teacher, something bad happened." Just as Shi Shang was yawning non-stop, a student popped out from behind her with an anxious expression. There was a problem with their costumes and they hadn't arrived yet. When Shi Shang arrived backstage, he saw Lin Qianlong. She had a performance. This was the first time they had met after that incident. Lin Qianlong had looked for her a few times, but she hadn't seen her. Lin Qianlong said a few words to the person next to her. Then, she took a deep breath and walked over. "Teacher." Shi Shang nodded and continued to follow the student who led the way. Lin Qianlong hesitated for a moment before following her. "Teacher, what should we do? They said there was a traffic jam. It's almost our turn. We won't make it in time. What should we do? Go up naked?" Shi Shang rolled her eyes. I can't conjure up costumes for them. What's the point of asking me for help? All the students were speechless. Teacher, if you don't stop, we'll call the police. Teacher, what's wrong? Lin Qianlong asked carefully. Senior Lin, we didn't make it in time to bring our costumes, a girl immediately replied. Ha! Lin Qianlong was surprised. Why didn't you prepare something so important? We already prepared them. But there were some flaws in that batch, so we had to make a new one. It's too late now, Lin Qianlong asked. Do you still have the costumes from before? Yes. Go and bring them over. I'll ask the seniors from the School of Design to help you in case of an emergency. The other students looked at each other. They had no choice but to use the costumes from before. A few of the boys drove over to fetch the costumes. There was indeed a big problem with the costumes. Lin Qianlong called Lin Yixuan. Lin Yixuan brought a few seniors from the School of Design to help. Everything else is fine, but the size. Lin Yixuan looked at them awkwardly. The size wasn't right. They couldn't fit. Chapter 1099. Shi Shang crossed his arms as he watched them struggle. Finally, he couldn't stand it any longer and went up to one of the girls. Sir. The girl was shocked. She stepped back in fear. What was he trying to do? Don't move. Shi Shang glared at her. The girl didn't dare to move. The dress was too small at the waist. It couldn't be worn by people who were slightly fatter. Shi Shang tugged at the hem of the dress and tore it open. While the girl was still in a daze, there was another tearing sound. The dress was torn to shreds at the bottom. The boys' pants were also problematic. Shi Shang ordered them to cut them off. Their cropped pants became cropped pants in an instant. The girls' skirts also had to be cut short to match the outfit. There wasn't much time, so everyone had to do it themselves. It was a mess. In the end, they just cut it randomly and asked the seniors from the design department to tidy it up. It was quite messy. Students of Year 2 Class 7, please get ready. The receptionist announced. Everyone hurriedly moved towards the entrance. Shi Shang leaned against a dressing table and watched as the group of people stood at the entrance and chattered away. Sir. Lin Qianlong went up to Shi Shang. I'm sorry about what happened before. Thank you. Shi Shang nodded slightly and walked out. Lin Qianlong chased after her. Sir, are we still friends? Shi Shang paused and turned around. The light above her head was crushed and embedded in her eyes. It looked like broken pieces of silver. Lin Qianlong heard her say in a calm voice, I don't have any friends. Lin Qianlong stood rooted to the ground as she watched her figure disappear into the entrance. The people around her seemed to have frozen in place. Sir, what kind of boys do you like? Cute and obedient. Sir, I'll leave first. Where are you going in the middle of the night? I'm going to squeeze in with my friends. Wait at the entrance. I'll open the door for you. Lin Yixuan patted Lin Qianlong's shoulder from behind. Yixuan, Lin Qianlong mumbled. Lin Yixuan turned to face her and hugged her. Qianlong, some people's bottom line is untouchable. But teacher. Lin Qianlong's voice was a little soft. You look so lonely. My heart aches for you. She always felt that she was standing outside the rules of this world, coldly looking at the flowers and trees of this world, unrestrained. She has Senior Yen. Lin Qianlong suddenly clenched her fists. I can definitely become friends with you. Lin Yixuan was shocked. Qianlong, don't get close to her. She's not from the same world as us. Lin Qianlong held onto Lin Yixuan's shoulders, her eyes sparkling. I don't need to become someone from that world. I just need to be her friend. The river flows to the east, the stars in the sky join the Big Dipper. Hey, join the Big Dipper. Life and death friends, a bowl of wine. We're leaving just like that. You have it, I have it, all of it. He, all of them. Never turn back in water or fire. Roar at the sight of injustice, make a move when you have to. Rushing to the 9 provinces in a hurry. The sound of the chorus could be heard backstage. Lin Qianlong looked at Lin Yixuan and smiled. Ever since that incident, Lin Qianlong had been unhappy. Lin Yixuan patted her shoulder. All the best. Sometimes, there was no reason for wanting to be friends with someone. If you liked them, you liked them. The second-year Class 7's chorus was very successful. Although they might not get a good ranking, they wouldn't come in last either. As long as they didn't come in last, they were already happy. The university program was much better than the high school program. Lin Qianlong also had a piano solo. She was wearing a pure white gift. When the lights shone on her, she looked even more holy. She sat in front of the piano and took a deep breath. Her slender fingers placed on the black and white keys. The first note sounded, followed by the smooth syllables. Every syllable seemed to be able to move people's hearts. What song is this? I don't know, but it's so good. It makes my blood boil. At the beginning, there were still discussions. But towards the end, everyone quieted down and listened quietly. After the last syllable, there was a few seconds of silence. Suddenly, there was a loud applause. Lin Qianlong stood up to thank her. This song is for teacher Jian Yin. It's called Galaxy. May you be as bright as the galaxy. May you last forever. Shi Shang seemed to be deep in thought. He didn't respond to Lin Qianlong. Lin Qianlong bowed slightly and got off the stage. What's wrong? Yan LV squeezed Shi Shang's hand. I thought of someone. Shi Shang pursed his lips. Let me tell you a story. A long time ago, there was a little girl who lived in a large family. The children of that family didn't like this little girl who suddenly intruded on their territory. So, they made things difficult for her. But the little girl was very optimistic. She just wanted to live in that large family. But the more she wanted to live a peaceful life, the more the children made things difficult for her. Yan LV added, cowards will always be bullied. Yes, cowards will always be bullied. Later on, the little girl met another girl. The first time they met, the girl was killing people. The little girl was scared out of her wits. It wasn't until the girl was done that she thought of running away. But it was too late. The girl caught up with her. The girl didn't kill the little girl. She told the little girl that if she wanted to live there, she had to abandon her cowardice. After the girl left, the little girl stared at the corpse in a daze. Soon, someone came to clean it up, but no one cared about her. No one cared about the dead person. Later on, the little girl found out that the girl was the most respected daughter of that family. Shi Shang paused. What do you think happened to the little girl in the end? Yan LV shook his head. Shi Shang sneered. The girl took special care of her. She allowed her to learn from her. The little girl worked hard to become stronger. She was strong enough to fight alongside the girl. Unfortunately, she stood against the girl in the end. She betrayed the girl. She died, Yan LV said. Shi Shang rested his chin on his hand. No. The girl was soft-hearted and gave her a chance. That was the only time she was soft-hearted. It led to the tragedy that followed. The whole family was destroyed. The girl was very upset. She didn't understand why the girl would do that to her. Yan LV frowned. This story. It's not me. Shi Shang's voice was crisp. But the girl taught me a lesson. Don't be soft-hearted to others. What about me? Shi Shang looked at him and smiled. You're different. He was different. Did that mean he was different in her heart? Shi Shang played with Yan LV's fingers. Her hair fell over her face. You can't bear the word, betray. So don't betray me. Yan LV tightened his fingers. I'd rather betray this world than betray you. I know you're going to use your imagination to fill in the gaps in that story again. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.